were unbelievable. Reese and Kirk had a very tough task with that show.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of interviews happening. There was a lot of time lag happening. There was the game, a great football game happening.
Yeah.
I do believe it was a smashing success for ESPN, and I apologize for missing it, but I was pushed to, I was supposed to be on 10:25, then I got moved to 10:45. 10:25, by the way, was pushing it for me now.
Yeah,
and after seeing everybody else, how they were dressed for that megacast, I was nowhere near that. Like, I would have been, I don't know if I was the right guy to put on ESPN2 at the time. I had NyQuil in me at one point, obviously some vitamins. Imagine me FaceTiming into that thing from my bed. Just, what's going on, boys?
Would have been awesome.
Been watching the show today. Charles Barkley paid, man, it was pretty awesome, man.
People would have enjoyed it, actually.
And my dog Valerie's back in the cone because she scratched open her scar.
Oh, no.
So she would have made an appearance. She was laying on my shoulder. My three-legged cat would have been on my left shoulder. I would have been gone to the heavens. So the right decision was made for me not to go on last night. But I did watch it. I did enjoy it. Also, shout out to Steve Levy, Brian Greasy, and Louis Riddick for their first real Monday Night Football game. And in that Monday Night Football game was a lot of things that happened. Obviously, the Oakland Raiders, for 2 years in a row now, have started a lot harder than anybody would have ever given them credit for. A lot of talk about the shoes on the quarterback last night. Drew Brees' shoes with his own records on them and stuff like that. But Derek Carr had possibly the cleanest pair of cleats I've ever seen on television or on a football field. That goes a long way. That team looks great. Who the hell knew who this Waller guy was before last night? Probably fantasy owners and gamblers, but the rest of the world got introduced to a stud who's a tight end who's faster than every other tight end in the league and catch a ball at a time. Then obviously Josh Jacobs is next level. Derek Carr's making plays. And in that locker room afterwards, the celebration makes me feel as if the Las Vegas Raiders are all the way in. What a win by them on prime time Monday Night Football. And the Saints got to figure it out. Drew Brees' arm, guys. I mean, it was the talk of the internet last night. Old Drew Brees' arm was talking. Can this guy throw deep anymore? How about he's supposed to be the most accurate passer of all time? He was missing guys in the flat. He was missing some throws on national television. Now, he had shoes on that had all of his records on them. And his records list is a long one. He's on top of almost NFL record charts of everything you could possibly want to be on for a quarterback. But to get on top of those charts, you know what you need? A lot of throws. Lot of throws. Is that arm throwed out? A lot of people are asking. Ooh. Is Drew Brees' arm no longer what it once was?
Yep.
Is that mechanism where he tilts his head back, he looks underneath his helmet, and he uses a lot of elbow on his pass? Is that thing died off? There was people tweeting bone arms last night saying this is his arm. And I don't know if that's fair after one bad game. Maybe he just wasn't feeling the ball one night. Can the guy have a mistake? When you're a GOAT, people say no. Let's not say that Drew Brees is dead just yet, though. Remember, Cam Newton wasn't even on a team a couple months ago. Tom Brady and the Buccaneers were never going to work about a week ago. Now, Drew Brees' arm can't operate anymore 1 week after beating the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Let's react accordingly, saying maybe we should check out that arm a little bit, which we've been talking about for a couple years now at this show. And a lot of people probably weren't listening to our show a couple years ago or currently watching or listening because we weren't on the platforms that we're currently on, nowhere near as large as they are now, by the way, no big deal.
Oh, big deal.
Which, by the way, is just going to happen over time.
Yeah.
If I've learned anything in this internet game, you stick around long enough, things will start to build. No matter what. And that's what we've done. We've stuck around a long time here at this point, a few years. But a couple years ago, we talked about how Drew Brees' arm at the end of the season did not look like it really had the pop that it once had. Then last year, he gets a 5-game reprieve, if you do recall, because he hurt his thumb. Teddy Bridgewater comes in and goes undefeated. And at the end of the year last year, Drew Brees had a little bit more pop on that arm still. So I wondered for 2 years, just because these are my self-opinions, does Drew Brees' arm cause concern if you're a New Orleans Saints fan? Because 2 years ago, didn't look like he could make it to the end of the year. Last year, he got a 5-game reprieve, so would he have made it? We don't know. Now here we are, week 2, very early in an NFL season, and the world's questioning his arm. I assume Drew Brees will bounce back. That's what Drew Brees does. That's what the world does. He didn't have Michael Thomas as well. Maybe that's why he wasn't taking as many shots or throwing the ball as deep or maybe missing people. Who knows? But last night, the Raiders looked absolutely unbelievable. The Saints fall to 1-1 for a tie in the NFC South, even though they have the head-to-head matchup win, and things are just getting spicy. Week 2 is going to kick off here in a few days on Thursday night. We'll dive into everything happening this weekend. Our guest today, Mike Adams, played 16 years at safety in the NFL, was a former teammate of mine, two-time Pro Bowler. We'll talk to him His thoughts on Drew Brees, by the way, because the secondary, they're the ones who are just waiting for the day that the quarterback gets either inaccurate or a little bit slower so they can jump a route. If the guy doesn't have the same amount of buzz, we'll jump a route here. We'll be able to do that. We'll talk to him about that. Also, everything else that he possibly has seen. People are saying this Pittsburgh Steelers defense is the best defense in maybe recent history in football. I'm excited to talk to him about that and everything else. Also, brand new tight end for the Cleveland Browns. A road grader, Austin Hooper, will be joining us at 1:05 Eastern Daylight Time. Then, an hour after that, 2:05 Eastern Daylight Time, it is Aaron Rodgers Tuesday. Aaron Rodgers obviously had a masterful Sunday against the Detroit Lions. He was throwing the ball well. Aaron Jones was running the ball well. Last week he said, listen, let's not overreact. It's just 1 week. Can I overreact now? Mm-hmm. Can I overreact after week 2?
Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
I will ask him that question if I can overreact. And I don't know if everybody else saw this, but last week I asked him about his purple drink that he had against the Minnesota Vikings because everybody's like, oh, he's drinking that Purple Crush thing because of what happened years ago. And he said, no, it's Pedialyte. I drink it every single week, and Purple's the only one they give me or whatever. Even though Pedialyte does have other options, Purple, I have found in my hangover days, is the easiest to consume because Pedialyte has no sugars, no flavor, no nothing. It's just all electrolytes and interesting taste. It's made for babies, perfected by adults who drink a lot. The purple one is the only one you can really take down. So I found that very interesting when he said that answer because against the Lions, I don't know if you guys saw this, he had a Gatorade bottle with a G on it, drinking a purple drink out of it. So I wonder if he was told, hey, yeah, you can tell people you don't drink Gatorade all you want, but on the sideline, you're going to drink that non-Gatorade in a Gatorade bottle. I found that was one of the, I was like, oh, okay. Aaron's dominating, obviously. The offense is rolling, but, is that a purple Gatorade or is that Pedialyte in a Gatorade bottle? I'm intrigued.
Interesting.
And the reason why we have him on the show is so we can ask him stupid questions like that. We'll talk to him about everything happening in his football life, obviously everything happening in the world. And I just saw that State Farm commercial for the first time. What he did to that dog was rude. We got to talk about it. Threw that dog's ball down a canyon about 78, 90, I mean, maybe 100, 150 yards that ball.
Yeah.
That thing might have, might want to won out of the stadium. And by the way, I was told no CGI was used in that.
Really?
Aaron Rodgers actually threw the ball 700 yards like that away from the dog, which, by the way, got a good pop out of me and the dog. All the boys are here at Tone Diggs. Boston Connor is here. Ty Schmidt is here. Viva Lazito is here with a poll. Let's introduce that to the world because I think this is going to be the most active poll that we have ever put up.
Yes, with 5,000 votes already, no big deal.
Oh,
No big deal. No big deal.
With the current NFL COVID testing protocols, do you think coaches should be required to wear a mask on the sideline? Question mark.
Yep, great question.
Yep, 25%. Nope, 74%.
Wow.
People are speaking.
A lot of people listening right there that didn't get the image. It was 25.4 and 74.6 because 25 and 74 is definitely not 100%. So people probably thought there was potentially another option, but no, we just didn't want to dive into the finer details of that entire
Yeah, I'm not a decimal guy.
And this coach's sideline thing is very interesting. Very, very interesting. Last night, Sean Payton, John Gruden, they were just like every other coach, basically, on Monday Night Football. Even after hearing about there potentially being fines levied against coaches for not having, it was very hard, I think, for John Gruden and Sean Payton to wear that. I think it's very hard for any coach to wear that, to be honest with you, because whenever you have it up there, we've all heard people speak through the mask now at this point. Plus, they're speaking into a tiny little microphone that's supposed to go through the air, right? It's flying through the sky, and then it goes into a helmet that doesn't have great speakers either. So whenever you have a muffle, plus you're a little bit older, probably harder to breathe for some of these football coaches. When they're sending in plays, if there's any sense in their eyes that the quarterback or the linebacker can't hear exactly what they're saying, they're going to rip that thing off. You know why? Because their jobs to them are much more important in this particular moment of something that maybe isn't at the top of my mind at this exact moment because I'm trying to win a football game because there's billions and billions of dollars at stake. And I find it hard for an old dog to learn new tricks, and that's what most head coaches are, by the way. Old dogs. Aside from Sean McVay, who's been around football a long time, has been doing something one particular way for a long time, and Cliff Kingsbury and Zach, there's a couple, but a large majority of coaches have been doing something the same exact way for a long, long time. Routine creatures is what football people are. So whenever you add that into their thing, and you add all these tests that they're taking, it's probably hard for them to say, you know what, I'm going to change everything that I do here. I'm going to make it more difficult for my quarterback to hear me or my linebacker to hear me because even though I've taken 6 tests this week that have all come back negative, and nobody is allowed in this building unless they have a negative result on their COVID, it's going to be hard for me to want to keep this mask on strictly because of optics, because that's what it feels like it is. The NFL is fining coaches $100,000 each Sunday, and each of their teams is fined another $250,000. So obviously the NFL is cracking down on this very, very hard. $100,000 for the coach, $250,000 to the team, $350,000 combined. If they don't want to put the mask over their face whenever they're on national television, that's a fine. So now if you're a producer and you're running the show, you know if you cut to a coach who does not have a mask on, you're potentially costing that coach $100,000 and the team $250,000. And I'm sure there are some producers or directors that get off on that, like trying to catch people and wanting people to do that. But I'm sure there's a lot of producers that are like, well, so we're just fucking over this guy if we put him on camera. So I think it's very difficult to ask these coaches to do that when all they're worried about is just getting a call in or coaching or somebody hearing them or seeing the words they're saying, by the way, because 80% of communication is nonverbal. We know that. So you got to read. I mean, there's just a lot in there that it makes me think like these coaches are being told they're getting fined $100,000 and their team's getting fined $250,000. I would assume, now I'm not in these meetings anymore. I don't know all these coaches that are getting fined. I would assume that a lot of these coaches are going, well, what the fuck? How are we? Everybody in here is supposedly negative. And by the way, if they're not, let's not let them in here. Yeah. Let's worry about that a lot more. And it was the same thing that we talked about with the NBA bubble, how the players were on the bench. And they, by the way, towards the end here, you've seen none of that. But at the beginning, they were all required to have masks on the bench. And I'm like, they're in a bubble. Like, they're actually in a bubble. You go into the bubble so that you don't. And they're like, well, they could be asymptomatic, which at the one point didn't show up on tests, I guess, allegedly. But we're at a point now where I feel like the testing is more advanced than it's ever been. It's quicker than it's ever been. And if people are getting positive tests, especially those who are getting tested every single day, I assume they're getting isolated very quickly. And then there's contact tracing. I feel like what the NFL has done, what the NBA has done, what the MLS did, what the WNBA did, what all these people are doing, investing in the testing to keep the people positive away from the other people, so make sure they have a league, which ultimately makes sure they have money coming into their pockets, which is all that matters. I just think punishing these guys for doing something that seems like it's the right thing to do, not that big of a deal, is a tough thing to do. And I think you're going to see a lot of coaches just take that fine. I think last night you'll see John Gruden get fined. Sean Payton was just chilling that entire time like he had a turtleneck on, it looked like. But they're obviously doing a lot of speaking, though. That's why they're the head coach. And I think we've all understood that it's difficult to speak with that mask on. And a lot of people say, well, put the shield on like Andy Reid does. Okay, let's put the shield on then. And then you're just saying, well, the mask doesn't mean shit. We're just making it look as if it means something. Because I don't know much about COVID, but unless the rules of COVID are that, like, you know how they say hot air rises and COVID drops? Is that what unless that's the rule is COVID drops, then there's no way that mask is anywhere near what a mask is supposed to be. And it's just some, so I think there's gonna be some pushback from coaches, and I'm not sure you're gonna see a lot of changes. Yeah. And I think that's why the poll is so good, because it's like all these things are kind of hypocritical to each other at this point. What are you shoving something up my nose for 6 times a day if I can't even talk to my guy? It's very interesting. And the NFL is like, hey, we got to be safe. We got to set a standard for people that when you're out and about, you're doing this. Well, then I think if I'm the coach, I'm holding a thing that says, I don't have a mask on because I was tested 6 times this week. Plus everybody around me was tested 6 times this week. If you're not in that situation, you should wear a mask. Like if that's, I think that is something they should do, because I just think it's very difficult. And I just don't know how coaches are going to react in a positive fashion to this. Now they're losing $350,000 for their team.
Well, and even the guys who are up in the booth. I mean, there are dudes and coaches who are on the same team who have been around each other all week and who are in a closed room, and they still have to wear masks. It just doesn't make any sense.
100 players running around the field too without
without them.
Yeah, we get tested in here like once a month or whatever. And I assume that we all have. I got tested like 4 times there in a 4-week run. Foxy did as well. Mansuri did. Nick had to get tested to go do the WWE, and we all obviously tested negative, but you don't think you have it, by the way, until you go get tested for it, and you see somebody in a gas mask shove something down your nose. You're like, oh shit! Like I think I got it. Then it comes back negative. You're like, okay, I don't have it. Well, that means then everybody I've hung around. Then, if we know anything about this virus, that means nobody that I've been around has it. It's it's a celebration for the entire team.
Very much so. And then last night, both coaches already had it. So I don't know. Is that a thing?
Don't they have antibodies? I don't know. Isn't that something that we've already talked about?
The antibodies.
Yeah. They have the antibodies.
Cure. By the way, I think there's a chance that like 90% of America probably has the antibodies and probably had COVID at some point.
Sure.
I think we all had it. I think I had it for sure. I mean, I never lost taste or smell, so I guess that would kind of combat my thoughts of that. But hey, could have been asymptomatic. It didn't even know and was just walking around spreading it.
That's right.
Oh, but wait, then obviously now it stays in the air longer than it's ever stayed before. Hey, we don't know jack shit about this, and I guess that's why the NFL is like, we need you to wear a mask.
Cover their ass.
It could just, we could get fined or sued for all this later. So.
Is it safe to say that a majority of coaches and players at this point are Team Kirk Cousins with "If I die, I die"? If I get it, I get it.
I don't know if any of them think if I die, I die. I don't know how many you can put into that category. I've learned a lot about that, by the way. I guess Kirk's dad is a pastor.
Yeah.
So I would assume, I don't know much about the pastor family life, but I would assume going to heaven is like an honor.
Oh, they get a free ticket at the gate.
He's made his peace.
So they're like ready to go or whatever.
Yeah.
For me, I think a lot of people are like, "Are you sure you're going?" I'm like, "No, I have no idea."
Not sure,
I
actually.
don't.
It's a roll of the dice at this
Hey,
point.
if you die, will you be happy? It's like, no. Are you content with dying? I don't think so. Like, where the fuck am I going? Kirk Herbstreit's like, I know where I'm going.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to the best place of all. Or Kirk Herbstreit, no, sorry, Kirk Cousins.
Herbstreit
Herbstreit
is
too,
probably.
Herbstreit too, probably.
Respectfully
But Kirk
so.
Cousins knows exactly where he's going. So whenever they say like, if I die, I die, he's like, hey, me and my dad, we're going to heaven. No big deal. I'm going to go have a great time. This is actually, by the way, you ever talked to the super religious people? We had an FCA guy named Eric.
Oh, I can't wait.
The Fellowship of Christian Athletes. They make it seem like life here is like hell compared to what it's going to be. Like, oh, where we're headed is so much better than here. I'm like, really?
Are you sure?
I'm like, is that? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, that is a world without sin. Imagine that. I'm like, going to be bad music. All right, let's go to a break. 1-888-MAD-DOG. We are on beautiful Mad Dog Radio, Channel 82. Just listen to Adam Shine's show before us, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Legend. Appreciate him with
Real
the
good.
great lead-in. Appreciate that. Mad Dog Unleashed comes on after the show in about 2 hours and 41 minutes. You'll enjoy the hell out of that. In our show today, although we covered some things, we haven't covered them all. Please bring in the sidebar that we can talk about. And a lot to talk about. Air Bear, Tyrod Taylor, big decision coming over there in Los Angeles. 0-2 and 2-0 playoff prediction. We told you last week, 11% of teams that end up 0-2 end up in the or start 0-2 end up in the playoffs. We got to talk about that. Is anybody going to make a run that we don't expect? And how about 2-0 teams? Are any of them going to collapse? We should talk about that. Bruce Arians has a quote about why Gronkowski has not been getting the ball. That's what we got wide receivers for. It's a wild time down there in Tampa Bay. I don't think any of us expected it to start out like this. Jimmy G might be back. They're not sure. He's kind of day-to-day at this point with that ankle. Falcons owner has no idea if the team was confused by the rules or not. And the Broncos have signed Blake Bortles in replacement of Drew Lock's backup, Jeff Driscoll, who's now the starter for the Broncos. Jeff Driscoll looked good, by the way.
Yeah, he throws a nice
Confident.
ball.
Blake Bortles back in the NFL, only a good thing for everybody. We're back on the other side with Mike Adams, also known as Pops, 16-year NFL safety vet. Can't wait to chat with him and his thoughts, and also you, 1-888-MAD-DOG-6. If you want to tweet along with the show because you can't get through the lines because they're normally busy, hashtag Pat McAfee Show Live, and Zito will be updating us on all of that. This is the Pat McAfee Show, Tuesday, September 22nd.
I would lean towards the Raiders. Yeah, I didn't think the Saints played good last week.
No.
You could see it on the way the tickets. I mean, this game's got 5,800 tickets written up on it. It'll go to 10,000 before this thing's over. And a lot of the Raiders only have 36% of the tickets, and they got 51% of the money. So that's pretty strong.
So right now the Raiders are plus 4.5, minus 120 on FanDuel, which means
it's
that
gonna
thing's
move.
about to move right now, at least a 4.
Right.
Yeah, and it started at 5.5. I got it at 5.5 this morning. I feel pretty good about the Raiders tonight. I'm definitely going to make that an actual pick for tonight for the Raiders.
Yeah, me too. I just bet it. I like it just strictly because me and the other sharps out here, Gumpy, we like the thought of the Raiders opening their stadium. Gruden is going to be on 10 probably all night. New stadium, new image, Monday Night Football. Welcome back, John Gruden, to Monday Night Football. This feels like a Raiders win.
Before we get into the actual on-ice stuff, some quick little breaking news off-ice. Big news, actually. Come on, guys, quick. Let's give a round of applause to Goldberg. He's back. Goldberg's back. He's off the meth. Sean Weiss, 230 days sober. Remember that viral mugshot that went all over the internet earlier this year? He's got new teeth. He's healthy. He's gained some weight back. And 230 days sober, that's a big deal. Good to have Goldberg back.
That's unbelievable. Let's go, Goldberg. I am pumped to see him because, man, he did not look good there for a minute. He was starting to wither away to nothing. He had a heck of a tan, though. I mean, an unbelievable tan. But, man, I'm glad he's back. I'm glad he gained some weight back. I'm glad he's got new teeth. Maybe we got a D, what are we on, D4, D5? Is that where we're up next?
They got a new series coming to Disney Plus, so maybe we get a cameo from him because they obviously did not cast him because of said meth. And I wrote him off. I thought he was minutes away from death. He looked like a corpse, but he's back.
Doing it for the brand. It's the Pat McAfee Show on Mad Dog Sports Radio.
Ooh. Did you hear that?
Now that's a bump.
You hear that?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Doing it for the brand. The Pat McAfee Show.
I like it.
Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show. Tuesday, September 22nd. Beat drop, please. Thank you. Drinking enough water is critical for a healthy lifestyle. It increases your brain power and boosts your productivity. It prevents headaches and increases your focus. It improves your skin and your mood. It helps your digestion and gives you energy. It prevents bad breath, and it can even help you lose weight. Did you know all of this?
No, I didn't.
What? That's what drinking enough water and being hydrated can do. What? But how much water should you drink each day? 10 cups, 20 cups, a gallon? Nobody knows, but the good news is that it doesn't have to be so complicated. That's why we all start our day with Hydrant.
Oh, yeah.
Hydrant helps you hydrate faster. Hydrant has created a refreshing electrolyte powder that you mix directly into water to more efficiently and more effectively hydrate your body. It hydrates you so quickly and keeps you going for such a longer period of time. Each rapid hydration mix has the 4 essential electrolytes your body needs: sodium, potassium, magnesium, and zinc. And it packs a punch to help your body hydrate fast and stay hydrated. If you're looking for that little bit of extra boost of energy, there's also Hydrant Plus Caffeine, which contains 100 milligrams of caffeine from green tea. Hydrant is backed by research. The formula was developed by an Oxford scientist.
Wow.
What else have Oxford scientists created?
Huh.
Oh, no.
A lot of good stuff.
What? Oh, yeah?
It's also loved by pro athletes, top performers, celebrities, and has thousands and thousands of 5-star reviews. It's made with real fruit juice powder. It's delicious and refreshing and comes in a variety of flavors, including the new favorites: iced tea lemonade, my favorite, and fruit punch.
Yes.
Right now, you go to drinkhydrant.com and use promo code McAfee at checkout. You'll save 25% off your first order. Or you can go to drinkhydrant.com/McAfee and get 25% off your first order. That's DRINKHYDRANT.com/MCAFEE and enter promo code McAfee for 25% off your first order. Drinkhydrant.com/McAfee. Shout out to Hydrant and to Waters for being so damn good.
Yeah, who knew?
I had no idea it did all that stuff and you know, it boosts your mood and your energy.
Yeah.
Wow. That makes you live longer, they said. Woo.
Oxford,
Woo.
man.
Shout out to Oxford scientists. All right, joining us now is not an Oxford scientist, but a man who is basically a scientist in the football game, especially in the secondary. 16-year safety and two-time Pro Bowler. Ladies and gentlemen, Pops Mike Adams.
Yeah! What's up?
How you doing, Pops? How's life? How's the football season treating your old ass?
It's treating me all right. I was just upstairs homeschooling.
Oh, yeah. So now you're a teacher, which is something you've done for a long time, by the way, in the secondary. Felt like you've been kind of grooming yourself for this moment for a quarantine homeschooling session.
Yeah, that is true. But not when your 5-year-old daughter is saying, you don't know what you're talking about. My teacher doesn't do it like that. That's wrong, Daddy. That's wrong.
I'm excited to hear these relationships between students and teachers and then also parents and teachers post-quarantine homeschooling session, which is why I'm very thrilled that I do not have a child at the moment because I would not be able to do it. And my kid would go back with a very different learning style, I think, and reaction towards things the teachers say, but I'm sure you're not doing that. Let's talk football, though, Pop, shall we?
No doubt. Let's do it.
Okay, so Drew Brees last night. Did you see the game? Did you watch the game last night? That Raider Stadium looks awesome, by the way.
I did. Yeah, I want to go there, too.
Me too. We'll probably end up at a game at some point. I would assume everybody's going to.
We got a tailgate, though.
Bingo. And by the way, the tailgate there, I think, is just from the night before. You just kind of stroll out into a parking lot and do your thing.
So let me tell you this before you start. So my goal is to go to every stadium and tailgate.
This is content, Pops.
I want to do that. That's my goal. When this quarantine is over, though, when this stuff is over, when everything's over, I want to go to every stadium and tailgate. I want to enjoy the fan experience.
You know, that's content, and I'm sure we could get a sponsor for that probably before this hour even ends, that once we send a 16-year NFL vet out into a crowd and get – I mean, you're going to be incredibly intoxicated in a lot of these places, I would assume, Pops.
Absolutely. I would love for you to join me at least half of the state.
Whoa. Hey, whoa. Listen, I got to save me from me. If I was to end up at all those tailgates, we would be – I mean, they'd be legendary. Let's have a good time. Let's do it. But let's talk about that Vegas Raiders team and the Saints last night. The talk of the internet last night was that Drew Brees didn't have the same pop on his arm anymore. He was inaccurate. He was missing guys. As a guy who was a 16-year safety, is that something that's very easy to tell on the other side? Or is there a chance that Drew Brees just had an off night and his arm looked a little bit weaker than everybody thought it should look?
Statistically, if you think about it, I played against Drew Brees a lot, and he never had a strong arm. He was always just accurate. He's hitting guys right on the mark. And I was telling D Butt this. I was telling Darius Butler that people don't realize how much they need the preseason. And that hurts a lot of people because you at least need one tune-up game just to get the kinks out and just to get everything going. I understand they already played one game, but that was live bullets. And everybody's still trying to adjust to the timing. They're trying to adjust to where this guy running, like, or somebody missed it. I was watching the game Sunday. Somebody went to hand the ball off, and the running back went the opposite way. So it's a lot of kinks that you got to work out. But back to Drew Brees, I don't think he missed a step. I think he'd be just fine. I don't even think it's time to panic. It's only week 2. I don't think he ever had a strong arm. I just thought he was just one of the most accurate guys in the game, period.
So that was kind of exactly how Peyton played as well, right? Peyton had that 6'5" laser rocket arm commercial. Everybody was like, oh, Peyton's got the strongest arm ever. It was like, now listen, I came in there late, but it wasn't that he had the strongest arm ever. He could just drop it on a pin if he had to, and it was exactly timed up with where his receivers were going to be. That's why the reps in the offseason were so important. Yeah. That's why the reps – yeah, because the timing. He wanted to know where Dallas Clark was going to be when Dallas Clark still had his head running down. Peyton was releasing that thing because he knew that Dallas was going to cut there. I would assume Drew Brees is the same way. And to your point, without the preseason game, whenever a DB is maybe playing a little bit differently than the guys you have on a roster, that can disrupt the timing. Is that what you were getting at there?
Absolutely, and plus, think about it. Michael Thomas wasn't even playing. He's not there, and that's his go-to guy. That's where all the timing is at. And back to when I was in Denver, and I want to compare to Tom. I want to compare Drew Brees and Peyton Manning. So when I was in Denver, we knew Peyton Manning's arm wasn't that strong. So when Demaryius Thomas used to run his fade routes, as soon as he released off the ball, that ball was gone. The ball was gone and it drops right in. Same thing with Drew Brees. Drew Brees he's a little shorter, so he backs up a little further. And with Michael Thomas, he just leans back and just drops it right in every time. And that's all timing for the off season.
So whenever you talk about dropping a ball in, I have to go to Russell Wilson's deep ball to DK Metcalf that came. Matt Hasselbeck said it came down a chimney. Is there anything Stephon Gilmore could have done with that? Or is that just a moment where you look as a DB, you're like, yeah, they fucking got me. There's nothing I can do there.
So it's funny because, again, like me and Darius Butler, we talk about all this stuff all the time. So only thing I can say that he could have done better was just stuck his hand in there instead of swipe. You know, I think he wasted his time swiping and tried to knock the ball out, and he should have just stuck his hand in that pocket. And again, DK, he did a great job of not showing his hands. He showed his hands at the last minute. So again,
what do you mean by that? What do you mean by show your hands? Show his hands.
So usually when a wide receiver running and they show their hands, it gives the DB a chance and it alarms the DB that the ball is coming. The ball is coming right now. Metcalf, he was just running the whole time and not showing his hands. So I don't think he knew when the ball was coming at all. So once he showed his hand, it was like too late, and then he ended up swiping.
That's a veteran move, I'd assume. DK Metcalf.
Absolutely. And now I was impressed that he didn't show his hand. I was so impressed. I'm like, wow. Because usually rookie receivers like that, they come and they run and they have their hands already out running, trying to catch the ball. And it gives the and mind you, when your hands are up and you're trying to catch the ball, you're slowing down as a receiver. So the defensive back is just running at you full speed, and he catches up with you, and that's what gives him a chance to bat the ball down. But if you just running and it's a foot race, and you just running under the ball, and then you just show your hands at the last minute, it's nothing. It's hard for the DB to recover.
So that's why receivers can get older and maybe lose a step, which happens naturally, but still take advantage of situations. Like I remember Reggie Wayne, people used to say he was impossible to guard because he was so much smarter than everybody. Is that what people were referring to with that?
Crafty. Yep. Very crafty. And that's part of it, not showing your hands. And another part of it is just using your body. Like and as you lose a step, and a big body receivers, they kind of use their body to shield you off to catch the ball. They don't try to outrun you. They don't try to shake you or juke you. They actually absorb the contact and want the contact. So now they can use their big body just to turn around and catch the ball.
There's so much going on in such a quick matter of time there. It's insane to watch those battles. Anytime that it was one-on-ones in practice and the ones were going against each other, I mean, you can go down and watch the offensive line and defensive line for sure. It depends on who's going there. Robert Mathis and Anthony Costanza used to have hilarious, legendary battles. But for me, the wide receivers and the DBs, you got a chance to just watch insane athleticism go against each other. And the DBs are set up for failure there, by the way. Absolutely set up for failure. There's no rush. There's none of that. But what Reggie used to do in those things to people, it was just like, oh, my Lord, that is filthy. Let's talk about you in veteran crafty tricks in the secondary. I think you were the one, and I don't want to throw you under the bus for this if you don't want this to be publicly, but you said you would change the color of your gloves to match the uniform for the other team so that refs didn't know if you were getting a little bit handsy or not. That is genius. That's next level thinking, and I am so happy to hear you say that.
Absolutely. I did that a lot. Did I tell you that? Did I tell you my secret or somebody told on me? You got told on me or something?
No, you had weird colored gloves on because I wore one glove and I had like a glove on and I was like, man, where'd you get that? Like, that's an awesome glove or whatever. And I think you just said like in passing, it was like, got to match their jerseys, Pat, or something like that. you just jogged off or whatever. And I was like, oh, okay, that makes a lot of sense there. It's a brilliant move.
So what I do is like, so if we're home team and we got light colored jerseys, I mean dark colored jersey, and the away team got light colored jerseys, I'm wearing white gloves because like when receivers sometimes like the big body receiver, they come into you a little bit. Like I was just explaining about Reggie Wayne. I get to grab him a little bit. And the ref is hard to see because the ref, think about it, he's 25 yards back. He can't, I'm not extending my arm or anything, and I'm absorbing the contact, so I'm holding him. And the ref doesn't see it. Then I let go at the right time as a receiver tries to release. I let him go. Then I bat the ball down or pick, interception, whatever the case may be. That was a little trick I used.
Yeah, it was awesome. Because I wanted the gloves that you had. I was like, oh, I would like to wear those gloves right there. And then you like ran off. I was like, oh, that's a strategy to have those gloves on. And then, by the way, those mitts were, I mean, you got your hands on a lot of balls whenever you were with the Colts. It was beautiful to watch. You're out of Delaware. Such a small school, right? Is it Delaware? I got that right?
Yeah, University of Delaware. Yeah, you're right.
Sorry, the Hens.
Go Hens, yeah.
Blue Hens,
The Blue Hens.
Joe Flacco.
Joe Flacco down there. University of Delaware. Were you drafted high coming into the NFL?
I was undrafted, Pat.
16 years. 16 years in the NFL at safety, and you were undrafted coming out.
Undrafted. 16 years undrafted, boss.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. That's a success story. That doesn't happen. Pops, it does not happen.
I was rose coming out the concrete. That's what that was.
Hey, hey, I like that. By the way, that rose has thorns, but don't you worry about him. We will bite a little bit. This COVID season here that we're witnessing, if you were an undrafted rookie this year, you'd have no chance, basically, huh?
No chance.
It's a big deal. It's a big deal. I don't think a lot of people are talking about that. We're talking about an entire class of players probably not going to be in the NFL because next year there's another class coming that'll be younger and everything. I mean, it's just, that's a real thing that is not being talked about that much.
That's a real thing. And I spoke to a couple of people about that. And that's the one thing that's not even been talked about. It's guys that went to 1AA. Like I got a young guy, Yasir Thomas, that I've been working out with and I've been training him. He went to Lafayette and he might not never get looked at. And I've been calling, I got a lot of connections in the league, so I've been calling DBs and calling scouts like, what's the deal? What's going on? And all the 1AA players, most of the 1AA players, they just going to get the short end of the stick. And so you're not going to find the diamonds in the rough this year. You're not going to find the Mike Adams. You're not going to find the, what was his name?
Gary
Running
Brackett.
back that went to that D3 school that with the Patriots.
Woodhead. Also Austin Eckler.
Yeah, Fred Jackson.
Woodhead. You're not going to find the Woodheads. You're not. It's bad, man. And I feel bad for those guys.
Me too. And like, for instance, Taylor Russolino's this kicker who is very good. He was in the XFL. He kicked for the Battlehawks. He's unbelievable, but he's never got NFL tape. And I got a chance to meet him through the XFL game that I did, and I watched him hit a ball, and I'm like, this dude hits a beautiful ball. I'm like, this is an NFL kicker here. So I was like, hey, man, I got a chance to meet him, talk to him, and I told him, I'm like, you're going to be in the NFL soon, dude. You hit a ball too good or whatever. Then COVID hits. He doesn't get any workouts, right, because they don't really bring anybody in. He doesn't have any NFL film. So I reach out to a couple of my friends that are like special teams coordinators and assistant. I'm like, hey, this fucking guy can kick a good ball. They're like, Pat, it's impossible to bring people in for workouts right now. If he doesn't have any NFL film, it's going to be very difficult to get somebody in the building because of the cost it is, everything like that. I mean, it's just a year where some people are just getting the short end of the stick, and they just got to keep it going, hopefully.
Yeah, and that's the sad part about it. It's crazy, and I think that's why I think the XFL. I'm glad The Rock took that over because with The Rock.
Attaboy. He's got
no, but I'm glad he took that over because like that's gonna be like our spring ball. That can be like our spring. You know how baseball got those 1A, A, and then you got basketball, you got the D League. That should be ours as the NFL, not the arena ball. That I think the XFL was gonna be good for a lot of people.
It's real football.
Because it's real football, and a lot of people got a couple jobs. Like 3 got picked up by the Pittsburgh Steelers. Mm-hmm. A couple got picked up by Carolina Panthers. Mm-hmm. So. Houston Oilers got one. I don't know the quarterback was named PJ
CTE, Pops. Houston Oilers have not been around for like 45 years.
I said Houston Oilers?
Yeah. We'll go to the next question. That's tough.
Hey, we got to edit that.
Pops, Bruce.
They're gonna kill me. I'm gonna get killed on the internet.
Pops, Bruce Arians came out and basically said, like, we don't need to throw the ball 50 times to the tight ends. When asked about Gronkowski, like, we have wide receivers for that. How much easier is it for a defense when you know that the tight end is not going to be a focal point in the offense? Like last night, you saw like Darren Waller go off. Like, how much harder is it when they actually do use the tight end?
Oh, it's definitely, especially when you're athletic and you can split a tight end out at number 1 or number 2 in the slot. Then you create.
Hey, explain what that means. Explain what 1 or 2 means.
Oh yeah, my fault. So if you got a tight end. A tight end is usually in the core, which next to the lineman. But if you get that tight end and you can put him out as a number 1 receiver or a number 2 receiver in the slot, and you creating mismatches now. Now a linebacker has to remove himself from the inside of the line and go out on the number 2 receiver and play man-to-man. That's why you saw it last night with Waller. They said, you know what? Screw this. We're going to play nickel and we're going to play dime and we're going to put a DB on him. And that still didn't work.
Well, because once you do that, you got smaller bodies out there, and that run game just took off. Yeah.
Hey, Pat, yes, that's where I was getting at.
Hey. There we go. Yeah. Hey, big football show. Woo. Football show.
So, and then once you go small, that means in football, since you're going small, so now you got a lighter box, and now you get to run the ball, and that's what happened. What's his name? Josh
Jacobs. Yeah.
Doing his thing.
They're paying him $9 million. If they're paying him $9 million just to be an extension of a tackle, that's a very interesting strategy. And we'll see how it works out for him.
Yeah, especially if, but see, you have to use them the right way, because certain tight ends like Waller, right? You put him in the core, he's not blocking. You know he's not running. They're not going to run the ball behind him. And so now you know what you're going to get. You're going to be run the opposite way, or it's going to be play action pass your way, or maybe bootleg.
Hey, some tight ends would take a lot of offense to what you just said. I remember last year somebody said George Kittle couldn't block. You remember that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I forget who
Gottlieb.
Doug Gottlieb said George Kittle couldn't block, and it was almost like a war was starting. Like, that's something that tight ends take a lot of pride in, I think.
Yeah, not all of them. Some of them don't care. Some of them don't care. Trust me. I can name a lot of those.
Hey, my question about Jamal Adams is this. It feels like he's playing his own defense, like Troy Polamalu used to. He's showing up in places that I think teams aren't expecting him. Like, he chased down Cam from the back, and you could tell that Cam thought he was a D lineman or a tight end that caught him. And then he saw Jamal. He's like, damn, how'd you even get over here? Is he a guy that just completely changes the math on the defensive side of the ball for that Seattle Seahawks team?
Yes, you have to always account for him. Where is he? Where's 33? He's 33 in the box. Remember, I think last year, how many sacks he had? 6, 7?
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, 6, 7 sacks. I don't know the exact number, but, like, he's always around that box. He's always around the ball. He's a ball hawk, you know, and you got to always account for him. And if you don't account for him, you got a problem. Just like that was a great comparison, Polamalu, because he can be anywhere on the field. He's supposed to be in the middle third. Next thing you know, he's out the line of scrimmage chasing the quarterback or getting a sack or a TFL. You know, and that's what Jamal Adams brings to that defense.
Hey, well, how come Earl Thomas doesn't have a job?
I think what killed him is what happened in let me use my words correctly. I think what hurt him.
There you go. Yeah, because kill would be, especially in the world we're in right now.
I think what hurt him.
That was smart by you to do that. But, hey, crafty. Very veteran of you to kind of back off of that one. You know.
Come back.
Yeah.
I think what hurt him is when he got in trouble with the offseason with the wife and, you know, that whole debacle. And then when you came back, you got Kent, and then you had a fight with one of your teammates. And I think he caught a lot of flack from last year because he wasn't the same person when he with the Ravens last year. I think they criticized him for giving up on a play. I think like 3 times, not chasing somebody down. I think one was Chubb when he was playing the Browns. And then on top of that, you got him punching his own teammate in the face, and I think that was the last straw. And I think it rubbed a lot of people wrong. But as far as him not having a job, I think he's still valuable, especially where everybody's getting hurt right now. And I think he can help a lot of teams right now. So those are the only reasons, the intangibles, the off the field stuff that I can say that probably hurting him right now.
You know, Pops, it doesn't get talked about a lot. There's always like, they're doing this, they're doing this. But the NFL and the people that are building teams and coaching teams, they want to eliminate distractions as much as they possibly can. And you can be who you can afford to be is a real thing. Like, okay, if you're going to be the guy, we're going to let you get away with some stuff. But if you're not, and Earl Thomas, by the way, for a long time was the guy. Then last year he had a drop off. And if there's any type of distraction, perceived distraction in their eyes, it's like, let's get a, that's just the NFL. That's the way the business is. That every coach or person that puts a team together says, if you're affecting our focus on winning, because winning is already hard enough, we have to get rid of you. Like, that's kind of just the way it's understood. And there's a lot of players that have fallen into that I think everybody's just like, hey, the way these brains work on these teams is like, if they perceive you at all as a distraction, they'll be like, well, we're out on them. And it's wild. I don't know if it's the way to go, but I just know that's the way it is.
That's the way it is, exactly. But if you can give them touchdowns and start producing and your jersey selling, I think the sad part about that, the crazy part about it is they keep you around. They tolerate you.
Yeah.
But one mistake and you have a drop off, just an inkling. Let's get him out of here. Or let's put him on a trading block.
Yeah, and then let's spread some rumors too, so our fans aren't that upset that we traded him. I mean, that side of the business is very interesting and cutthroat, and it always gets danced around when people say it. But it's like, be who you can afford to be. If you're a star, okay, we'll put up with whatever the hell we need to put up with for you to be here. But as soon as you fall a little bit, as soon as that star dims just a little bit, know that everybody in here is ready to cut. It's a very interesting thing. I knew it whenever I started having my own show in Twitter, and I was punting. I was like, hey, if I start to suck at all, I know I'm gone. Like I am gone. So I had to be at a point where I was very confident with my ability, and that's just in every single position. Pops, I can't thank you enough for joining us, man. I feel like a lot of people learn stuff, and I'm so thankful. I got to hopefully introduce you to some people who maybe have never known of the greatness that is Pops.
No doubt. I appreciate it, boss.
Ladies and gentlemen, 16-year, two-time Pro Bowler, NFL vet, Mike Pops Adams. Thank you, Pops. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you, man. So smart. So smart. That gloves thing was so crafty.
That's awesome.
So crafty.
16 years undrafted?
16 years undrafted. Playing secondary, by the way, which is where you have to be the most athletic person of all time. And normally people get drafted in the secondary, you're very fast. And if you're very fast, if you have the traits to be in the secondary, normally you're fast, explosive, smart. That's how you get that job. To be undrafted and stay 16 years, that might be unprecedented. That might be the first time, maybe since football they had smoking cigarettes on the sidelines type thing.
Oh, those are the days.
You know what I mean? Those were the days. The gloves thing was so awesome, though.
Genius.
Because I saw his gloves, I was like, I had the option of 3 gloves, and those weren't one of them. Those are awesome right there. He's like, he just said something in passing, and they just jogged by, and I was like, what a fucking brilliant move. That's a brilliant move.
I'm going to judge DBs now when I see them and they're not doing it.
Yeah, I know, right? But now that he said it, there's a chance that the refs will be like,
you got to wear the same gloves.
Hey, change those gloves there, pal. I know exactly what you're doing. Little Hockey Lee, by the way, who is very, very militant, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
He was looking over at the sideline one time for a 10-yard penalty that he knew was going to be declined. He looked over and he goes, and he was like, yeah. Obviously, we declined. It's 4th down coming up. Okay. But he's very militant.
Oh, yeah.
Old Hockey Lee's kid. I hope Hockey Lee just creates 15 more of them so we can have a great batch of refs. I think that's the only way we have any hope. Or Gene Steratore. If he could potentially have a couple, that'd be good.
Like the Mannings.
John Perry. Yeah, if we could just have the Mannings of refs, that'd be great. John Perry on ESPN, he and I have had some hilarious encounters on a football field. He's also a good ref. And we've talked about this before. The problem with the officiating is all the great refs get paid 7 times what they would make as a ref to go do television to tell people what the refs are doing. And those refs that are currently on the field just aren't the best of the batch. All the best of the batch are currently in television. So we need that next batch of refs to kind of step in for Hockey Lee, Steratore, the groups, Blandino crew, you know what I mean? There's those days. There's a lot of people we need to potentially get filled in. What's up?
I have a question for you.
Yeah, buddy.
So Pops just mentioned it, and we've heard a couple people talk about the importance of the preseason and how much the Saints needed it. But then you look at teams like the Packers and the Chiefs and the Ravens who didn't really need it. Wouldn't you assume that the Saints would have been one of those teams who didn't really need a preseason?
Yeah, because of their togetherness.
Right.
And how much they know each other. Yeah.
So isn't it kind of surprising that they have started the way they have?
It is. It's very surprising. But the timing thing, I think even into whatever years, 15, 14, whatever it was, when I got to see Peyton still worked on that in the offseason as if it was like his first year with the guys. Like those, I got a chance to go to those off-season workouts during the lockout because it was like an invite to everybody. Hey, we got this field. We're going to throw a little bit. And I was like, oh, I come punt on the field if we have a field. That's cool. And it turned into me just watching like a quarterback, wide receiver workout. It was awesome. It was like the first time I got really a chance to watch it. It was just him basically dialing in the machine, like as many reps as we could possibly get here. Let's get it so that whenever it pops up in a game, it's like, here you go. And they would delay a little bit because if they were getting like press coverage or anything like that, it was really, really awesome to watch.
Could they do that, you think, with the everything going on?
I would assume they weren't able to do it as efficiently. I have no idea. And down in New Orleans, I think that was...
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
But he lives in Texas in the offseason, I think, so I don't know.
Well, and also they were doing nothing up until they were allowed into the building.
Yeah, but that's led by coaches. Or not led by coaches, by the quarterback himself. Let's go to Gross over there in Philly. What's going on, Gross? Is the world burning down or not?
Dude, over in Philly it is for me. I'm a Raiders fan, so we're 2-0, baby.
Gotta feel good, bro, over there.
It feels fucking great. I only have one question, though. Who the fuck parked the scissor lift that close to the field?
That's a great question because that stadium is brand new, and there are some stadiums where the motorized moving. Remember the Boogermobile was quite a problem 2 years ago. Yeah. People weren't able to see in the front row, and those people, by the way, are paying all the money for the tickets, and they got Booger sliding by. Not Booger's fault, by the way. Booger was wrongly accused of being the reason for that thing. Not Booger's fault. I've actually heard the backstory on what happened and how the Boogermobile came to be, and I don't think Booger should be getting blamed for anything at all. Nope. He was just trying to do his job when he was on that Boogermobile, and we all thought it was amazing because you got him in like a tunnel and a time warp almost, traveling back and forth, talking off camera while it's moving. But there's been a couple places because the kicking nets are down there too, where Vinatieri and I have almost gotten trucked by one of those drivers who's just driving backwards because the stadium is built in a fashion where there's not enough room on the side, especially with a bowl where it comes closer down near the end zone where Jonathan Abram hit his head at. But yeah, there's a couple times where I've looked at that thing and been like, don't you think like this should not be happening where it is? And you would think when you're building a new stadium, you would give a little, especially if you're going to spend that many billions of dollars, you might as well just account for everything that maybe the older stadiums couldn't account for. You know, like, hey, the older stadiums didn't know when they were built that there'd be somebody on a scissor lift and there'd be a human driving at 15, 20 miles an hour down the sideline while there's a camera operator on the top kind of shooting in slow-mo in 4K. There's no way the people that built the original Oakland Coliseum knew that was coming. I mean, that place didn't even have an x-ray machine. I don't even know if they had functioning bathrooms towards the end of it. So now that we know that those things are there, you would think they would take that into account. Like,
they don't care.
Hey, you should do that.
They just want that. They just want to be able to sell that front row is the closest seat in the NFL.
And can we bring the Boogermobile back now that there is nobody in the front row?
See, now would be the time. But remember, the sideline people have to be in like the front row. Yeah. They're not even allowed to be on the field anymore. But they're not on the field if they're in the sky.
No.
They're not on the field if they're in the sky.
I'm in the end zones. The Boogermobile.
Hey, bring that son of a bitch back. I like Louis Riddick on Monday Night Football, by the way. I'm a big fan of what he does.
Yeah, pretty good.
And Boog, by the way, is as like a pregame and just like kind of like as an analyst, also good at that.
Awesome. Yeah. By the way, I think Booger McFarland was stuck put in a position that did not have the highest percentage of success to happen. I mean, when you're thrown into the Monday Night Football blender. But I've watched him on Get Up. Now I see him on the kickoff show in halftime. I think he's a talented guy, and he's in a good spot. He's in a good role.
Yeah, maybe you make it the Go-Go Greasy Mobile, and you put him down there on the sideline instead of Booger.
Greasy on the go.
Yeah, Greasy on the go. There it is.
That would be amazing. Hour 2 will be on the other side of this. Austin Hooper joins us in about 10 minutes. Go to the bathroom, do whatever you got to do. We'll be back on the other side. In the third hour, we will have Aaron Rodgers joining us, and we will also take calls for Aaron Rodgers. So 1-888-MAD-DOG-6. No Aaron Rodgers questions yet, but do know that around 2 o'clock, we are going to clean the phone lines out, and you can get a call in. So set an alarm, potentially. Your question could be asked to the stud, Aaron Rodgers. Hour 2 begins on the other side of this. This is Tuesday, September 22nd, the Pat McAfee Show on Mad Dog Sports Radio.
I like this song.
This song, it goes really hard. His name's E-Dog, and he got a lot of pole.
Who's so damn good, girl swallowing his pole.
Oh.
Can't do that. Can't do that.
Can't do it.
I mean, I don't know why we went there, but as soon as you
went
talk
there, though.
poll, and then last week I said, with the poll is who's going to suck the most.
Yeah.
And I said, Zito, who sucks the most on your poll? And everybody off air came after me for potentially talking about
Who's sucking Zeke's
grow up.
drink.
Yeah, which is not what I want to talk about. I would like to talk about the poll that Zito runs. Currently at how many votes and who is in the lead?
We're at 15,000 votes, a little bit above that. With the current NFL COVID testing protocols, do you think coaches should wear a mask on the sideline? ? Yep, 25.1%. No, 74.9%.
15,715 votes thus far. That thing hopefully will only grow because this is a real controversy that's happening right now. $100,000 to the coach, $250,000 to the team if they view their mask usage on the sideline as being reckless, I would assume, or something like that. That's going to be very interesting for the TV folks because the TV folks are going to have to decide when to put somebody on camera, when not to put somebody on camera. Or is there going to be some producers, directors that are trying to catch, like, whoop, zoom in on that son of a bitch. What team is this? Do they even have enough $250,000 for this? Yep, zoom in, boom, zoom out, bang, get it. It's very interesting. And everybody, I think, if you think about this from a reasonable standpoint, would say the players don't have to wear them. The refs have to wear them until they actually have to talk to each other in a close group. They pull it down. And they're all getting tested the exact same fashion. I would assume coaches are getting to the point where they're like, I mean, we're trying. I mean, we have to talk to people. That is literally what our job is. Monitoring results from September 13th through September 19th for the NFL COVID numbers. 36,664 tests were administered to a total of 7,845 players and team personnel. 14,074 tests were administered to 2,438 players. 22,000 tests were administered to 5,000. There were 0 confirmed positive tests among players and 5 new confirmed positives among other personnel. So hopefully that's outside the football side. That's on the other side. But the coaches are seeing these numbers. They're seeing these reactions. They know what the protocols are going through, and they're like, $100,000, like, you're already shoving something in my nose every single day. Is that not enough? What are we doing around
Do you find it weird that someone in this studio would try to get Chuck Pagano a $100,000 fine
Hey,
and the
come
Bears
on.
a $250,000 fine?
Oh, yeah, you're talking about Zito.
Oh, yeah.
What are you talking
When he ratted
about?
out.
Yeah, Chucky Pagano's having a blast with no mask, is what Zito said.
He was
Yeah,
eating.
mask on.
He was eating.
He
when
was
that
eating.
happened.
That
Oh, if you're
defense
eating
was
or
eating.
drinking.
Hey, wasn't
yeah.
that defense eating?
Nom, 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 nom.
Hey, fans in the stands at most of these places are allowed to not wear a mask if they're eating or drinking. So that if I were a coach, I would just have maybe like one of those hats that have like a water bottle or beers in my mouth at all time.
Yeah, and I would also say if they're allowed, if they don't have to wear. So if I can go into a restaurant, I have to wear a mask, and when I sit down, I eat. I don't have to wear a mask, even though I'm in the same exact area that I was just in when I walked in here. Okay, but I can eat. I don't have to wear.
Yeah.
In the stands here, people can walk in, but when they're eating, they don't have to have a mask on. How about for me, just because job description, if I'm calling plays, I don't have to have a mask on. That would alleviate all of the issues right now that are going on with the coaches. It's like, hey, they obviously can't wear a mask because they got to eat. How about me talking into a tiny microphone, okay, that is already probably ruffled enough to hear because it's in the helmet of a human who is currently sweating their ass off probably. I mean, is there any way we can do that? I just don't see how the coaches don't tell them to go fornicate themselves.
Yeah.
I honestly don't.
Well, and what about Favre in Tampa Bay? Like, if he has COVID, I mean, he walked down the entire fucking,
he was doing
stadium
a special.
eating chips.
He was doing a special.
Connor, you're whoa. Sirius just played something in our ear. In mid-sentence, Connor could not hold himself back. But yeah, you're right. I mean, there's so many rules that are very interesting. The MLS, they had to wear the mask onto the field, take it off while they're sweating, celebrating, slide tackling each other, and then immediately after have to put it back in and then go into your bubble. It's from the beginning of these sports mask guidelines that it's been kind of hypocritical, it felt like.
I mean, are we playing football or are we playing fucking diddlywinks?
Hey, what are we doing here? All right, I got to run to the bathroom. We got 1 minute until hour 2 starts. Austin Hooper will join us in 4 minutes. Be a friend. Tell a friend. This is the Pat McAfee Show.
McAfee Show.
There'll be no rules for our guests, for us, for the things we can talk about.
Speaking his mind
I've never had a problem expressing my opinions or my thoughts or anything like that.
while being relatable.
I haven't had that manufactured fake-ass celebrity that a lot of people have whenever they go on those big networks. I've had a chance to really build my crew, build my following, build my audience.
And ridiculous.
What am I supposed to do? So I'm supposed to look at something that I can definitely afford and say, nah. Is that what I'm supposed to do?
The Pat McAfee Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Good morning. Nope. Good day. Hour 2 begins right after this beat drops from Twine. We are now being joined by a man who was signed to the Cleveland Browns this offseason. Former tight end of the Atlanta Falcons, now the tight end for the Cleveland Brownies, which are currently 1-1 after a big win over the Cincinnati Bengals on Thursday night. Ladies and gentlemen, two-time Pro Bowler Austin Hooper.
I appreciate you guys for having me. I always have fun on this.
Austin, it's great to have you back, bub. I'm sure you guys are pumped to have a win over there. How is the building for the Cleveland Browns players and personnel feeling right now?
Yeah, a lot better. I mean, Pat, you already know 1-1's a lot better than 0-2. I mean, and everyone offensively, we're really starting to believe in what we're doing. I mean, in terms of running the ball, and you can see, with the play action shots to Odell, I mean, everything really gets opened up based on how well our run game can produce. So, that was really good to really get that core belief within our offense rolling.
Yeah, we started watching, and when you watch from outside in, you see you get paid. You're a known, incredible blocking tight end. You see them bring in Jack Conklin, even though he didn't play. You see him pay Kareem Hunt. You see him draft early. It's almost like Andrew Berry has this vision of, okay, we are going to be a good running team because in the end, games that matter, December, January, you have to be able to run the ball and you have to be able to stop the run. You see them start investing in Myles Garrett. They try to bring in Jadeveon Clowney allegedly, but the defensive line. Is that like a known thing in your building? Like, hey, this is what our offense is going to be. We're going to be able to run the ball. We have to be able to run the ball. And then everything else will open up for our weapons like Jarvis, like OBJ, like Austin in a pass game. Is that kind of something that's said or just understood?
Yeah, I mean, they've definitely preached it, and you've been on a bunch of teams. You can preach whatever you want, but until you can actually see it really, affect defenses and really see how it can really open things up. I mean, for a lot of these guys being, obviously, in a new system, so that was really great for the continuity of the offense and for the confidence of the offense to really show, like, hey, this emphasis we're really putting in. Here is the why behind it, and here is how it puts us in greater positions of success. So, especially with the runners we got, Pat, I mean, you just got to give them a crease, and they're pretty much guaranteed to make at least one guy miss. So it's a lot of fun blocking for those guys.
So Pops, Mike Adams, who played 16 years in the NFL at safety in the last hour, joined us, and he talked about how, whenever you have Darren Waller in the box, he's going out for a pass, he's not going to block. And I stopped him. I said, hey, tight ends will take a massive offense to that if you say that they can't block. You are known as a guy that can move bodies. Is that something you work on, or is it just like a natural thing for the Austin Hooper?
No, I mean, that's the funniest part until I got some love on Thursday night game for my blocks. I mean, no one really thought I could block at all. Everyone thought, just the way I used in Atlanta, pretty much just rolling up on third down, catching 80 balls a year. Everyone's like, man, he turns his head sideways when he blocks. And then, my role here is obviously creating holes for our runners. So people are seeing like, no, bro, I can actually do a little bit of that's why I'm here. So, yeah.
That's a big shot, though, at tight ends. Because whenever he said that, I immediately stopped. I was like, Darren Waller's not going to be happy to hear that, what you just said.
Yeah, no, I mean, for sure. I mean, is this just like linebackers, Pat? You know this. I mean, an outside linebacker in a 4-3 is different from an outside linebacker in a 3-4, yet they have the same position. So some guys, are going to be the 270-pound tight ends. Some guys are going to be, the Evan Ingrams, the 230, 235-pound tight ends who run a 4-4. So, I mean, everyone's the same position on paper. But, everyone's skill set's a little different. I mean, my deal is like I'm kind of pretty much like the jack of all trades guy. So, I mean, I take pride in what I'm doing. When I was in Atlanta, it was, getting open, catching balls. And here it's, creating some creases for our runners. So, I mean, I'll accept whatever role is asked of me.
Well, Andrew Berry saw it. He signed you to the most expensive tight end deal before a couple other ones got done afterwards, which I'm sure they're thankful for you setting the tone there for them coming in after.
Yeah, really late on the barbed wire for those guys.
Literally as we were seeing them unfold, we're like, Austin Hooper really set the tone here for these guys. Good for you. Hey, that's a team player. That's a team player. We'll take any role. So you haven't been with the Browns for that long. But Baker Mayfield is obviously somebody that moves the needle. There's going to be a lot of talk about him. What have you seen from Baker Mayfield? And I don't want you to compare he and Matt Ryan because each human is their own person. But what have you seen out of Baker Mayfield where you're like, okay, I like playing with this guy. I like being in an offense with this guy at the helm.
Yeah, sure. I mean, the first thing is the command he has. I mean, you've been around, some good ones. You've been around some solid ones. I mean, that's the biggest thing when you step in the huddle, like whatever comes out of your quarterback's mouth, you really trust it. Like, are you really, implicitly like really in it? Or are you really just like, okay, this is what we're running and all right, on one guys, boom. No, I mean, he's really fully in there. He really gets us going and just his enthusiasm is palpable. I mean, I think that's the first thing that jumped off of me. Not saying that Matt wasn't that way at all, just being with what's Matt, number 8 or 9 all time on the passer list. So being around a Hall of Fame quality quarterback, seeing some of the traits he has and seeing Baker's command of the huddle and just his confidence, that's what really jumped out to me.
Man, that'd be cool to be in that huddle one time. Pretty sweet. You know what I mean? Just being there.
Great. Yeah, it's fun time. Not always football related either. We have a good time in there.
Yeah, well, make sure you have your mask on, will you? I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it, Austin. Yeah, have your mask on in the huddle, please. These coaches are getting $100,000 fines. You guys are out there just, tackling each other and stuff? Enough with it. Maybe two-hand touch.
Follow the rules, Pat. We'd have a 20-yard huddle with everyone 6 feet apart. Hey, guys, outside zone on 1.
Well, you can basically hear that now anyways with the quarterbacks. I mean, we can hear a lot. What do you got, Tiggs?
Austin, you talked about your time in Atlanta. And I was thinking after this weekend, did you guys ever in Atlanta practice receiving onside kicks, or was that just something that you guys just didn't do?
How did I know this one was coming up? I did not. Idea.
By the way, I did not know this question was coming. I did not know.
I mean, with that one, I mean, I feel like, Pat, you probably speak on this a little better. I've never seen one of those kind of onside kicks before. But, yeah, at the end of the day, I mean, if you see it, once it hits around the 6 or 7 yard line, depending on how much speed it has, like your antenna has to go up, right, and just lay on it. Because, I mean, there's no real negative that can come out of it. I mean, they can't hit you. And if they touch the ball before it hits 10 yards, I mean, they're doing it again. So, I mean, it's kind of like just positive free roll. Only good can happen if you tack the ball. I mean, that's kind of what I was taught. I don't know what's going on down there anymore. But yeah, I mean, that was a crazy play, and good job for the Dallas Cowboys, man. They really executed it, and this being a copycat league, I'm sure you can see that onside kick conducted a lot more now.
Well, you better hope it hypnotizes the recovering team like it did to the Falcons. Did Stefanski use it in a meeting? Does Stefanski bring that out and be like, obviously you saw this play, here's the rules, and break it down? Because I thought a lot of people would use it as an example. Like, hey, here's this. We can't be these people ever again.
Yeah, for sure, Pat. I'm sure on probably Wednesday when we really sit down and start our base game plan, because after Thursday, you know how it goes, pretty much the weekend, get your R&R after playing, 2 games in 8 or 9 days. So, I mean, the recovery on our Monday was mostly it definitely wasn't a full speed practice. It was more just, get your body reacclimated to the work week type practice. So, I mean, it wasn't really in the meeting and going over situational stuff. But I'm sure on Wednesday we'll cover it.
Hoop, this is obviously your first year in Cleveland. It's also Stefanski's first year in Cleveland. How has he kind of rallied the team around him and kind of taken control?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I think the glaring thing with players, not even players, just people in general, people who don't really sense your intentions and what you're all about. So he's just being who he is. I mean, he's not trying to pretend to be, one of the head coaches he's worked for in the past. He's just being who he is. And I think, a lot of the guys are really embracing that, and a lot of the guys can feel that. Because, the biggest thing in this league is just how genuine are you? So, he's just being who he is, and that's really all we can ask for.
Yeah, you can sniff something out. Like, hey,
no doubt.
You're acting like somebody who you think you're supposed to act like. Right?
Yeah, stop being a method actor, bro. Be who you are.
Yeah, dude,
so Kevin's doing a great job just being who he is and just, being the same guy after a win or after a loss. He's just even keel kind of guy. And, I really respect that.
Hey, Coach, quick question. So you just always said, when I become a coach, I'm going to act like a dick? That's what you – some of those coaches, I've been around some of those coaches that get a job or a role or power for the first time, and they completely change. And it's like –
the coolest assistant coach of all time, and all of a sudden they get some power, they go to Kim Jong, special teams coach. Yeah, not ideal. Not ideal.
Not ideal.
Yeah, Austin, how much do you guys bust Baker's balls for being in all those commercials? And is he going to spread the love and bring you guys into any of them?
Ooh, great question. We would try, but his commercials are so damn funny.
So good.
There's not really anything you can say. And he showed love with Jedrick Wills, our young tackle, in I believe one of those commercials where he's going over the book reading club or something like that. Anyway, they're too funny. And with the characters we have on our team, you could pretty much roast anyone about it. That's the cool thing about our locker room.
When you guys hear rumors, like there was a bunch of rumors being started by Mike Francesa last week that Odell Beckham Jr. is on the trade block. And then Odell comes out and he says, like, everything you guys are saying about me, I would like it to be known, is wrong. Like, I just want to win games, is basically. He went on this entire rant that was like, I'm sick of hearing this about me. I'm sick of hearing this about me. All I want to do is win games. Your locker room, like you just said, is filled with personalities and media. And anytime anybody does anything, that's going to be talked about. Is that something in the locker room that is like a moment where you guys are like, hey, you don't deserve that? Like, for instance, the Odell Beckham Jr. rumor mill that came out, that was obviously just a hit piece. Is there a conversation where you like have to talk to him where you're like, hey, listen, man, I know outside of this locker room the world seems to be burning, but we got your back in here?
Yeah, I mean, you pretty much answered. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, we don't all know what's going on, but at the end of the day, I can say this: Odell just wants to win more than anything. I feel like at sometimes he's a prisoner of his persona, if that makes sense.
Oh, wow!
I mean, like, you know, even me, I never thought he was a bad guy by any way, shape, or form until I was a teammate with him, and I really got to, you know, have those private one-on-one conversations, sit down with, you know, him and Baker and some other guys who, you know, who could say, I guess, are somewhat misunderstood unless you really get that one-on-one time with them. You just realize, like, all Odell wants to do is win. And if that means he gets 3 catches and we win, or he'd rather take 3 catches and win than, you know, 9 catches and a loss. I've actually asked him that question. Most receivers, I'm not going to name names, but already like, it's a contract year, baby. I'm taking those 9 grabs. Odell's truly like a team guy. So that was the thing that really I was very pleasantly surprised about when I got to like know the real Odell.
A prisoner of his persona. Oof. Hey, that's some deep. Where'd you go to school at again?
3-year dropout at Stanford, so
that's
basically like West Virginia 4-year.
No. Hey, I dropped out too. Don't you even put that incredible West Virginia. No, West Virginia is the Harvard of West Virginia, but it's true. It is not Stanford. I know it is.
Big 12 Stanford.
Yeah, you're right. Let's talk about the Pac-12. It's dead. Any comments from a guy that came from Stanford?
I mean, what do you expect? I mean, if anyone's shutting down, it's going to be the Pac-12. I mean, they don't make as much money as the other conferences, and. Yeah, I mean, this is a very political topic, and if you look on the West Coast, it's, you know, everything's shut down. I mean, I remember we did the interview with you last time. I mean, shit, all I had to do was ride my damn bike for fun. Like, I got that interview, like, wow, all this guy does this workout. I was like, damn. I mean, there's not a whole lot going on. I mean, my family's still out there. I mean, you know, everything going on with the fires is, you know, much crazier stuff going on than just football right now. So, you know, I'm definitely, you know, disappointed, but at the same time, Pat, like, this is the first time student athletes can actually get like a true college student experience. So like, well, some guys are up in arms. I'm also at the same time, I'm like, this is the first time in your life where you actually get to play student. And let's see how this experiment goes out.
Well, kind of. I mean, are the students kind of locked in their dorms now? A lot of places over here, I don't know about over there. A lot of places are like, yeah, come on back. We're going to open it up. Let's take classes. And then guys get in or girls get in. And then they shut down the actual classes. And they're like, all right, actually, we were joking. We got full tuition from you, but we're going to lock you in a dorm and you got to do e-learning. Congratulations. It's still, hey, the degree is still the same, but that's what we're going to do. It's an interesting time to be
right here. Sign right here.
Austin, in a week where you're playing the Washington football team and you got to go up and against Chase Young and Ryan Kerrigan in the run game, will you like watch tape and then be like, oh, they like that move, and then go to Miles and be like, hey, you want to try this out on me and practice a little bit this week just to get me ready?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, not only that, they got, you know, Montez Sweat, who's also, you know, the third guy that gets rotated in. I mean, I played Kerrigan over the years, obviously, you know, Hall of Fame level player. I mean, was franchise sack leader over there. Anyway, really good player. Played against him. Understand, you know, generally what he does. I mean, the problem is with the younger guys, right? You only have, you know, 8 quarters of football and like 15 drives to really, you know, gather your run blocking plan based off them. But I mean, a lot of it is, you know, just go out there and play and react. 'Cause, I mean, every game, some guys might try to do something different. I mean, it's all based on like what offenses like to do. So, I mean, that's a good question. I don't really have an answer for you. I can just watch film and pretty much just go out there and trust what I see and, try to play as fast as possible.
There's a big initiative on the internet for tight ends not to block defensive ends. How do you feel about that?
I mean, I'm not opposed. But it comes with the job description. So, hey, buddy, you got to do what you got to do.
Austin, well, good luck this weekend. We can't wait to talk to you again. Congrats on not being completely defeated thus far. There's a lot of teams that are 0-2. Much better to be 1-1 than 0-2. We'll keep up with you during the season. We can't thank you enough, brother.
Absolutely. Appreciate you guys. See you next time.
Hey, tell everybody over there we said hello. Ladies and gentlemen, 2-time Pro Bowler, tight end for the Browns, Austin Hooper. Yeah! Thank you, man. He's a good conversation.
Yeah,
great.
He cracks me up.
Yeah, I like
Hilarious
it a lot.
that they make fun of Baker for all of his commercials. I wonder if they dump on Odell for what he did.
Oh, come on.
All right. Jeez. They said they don't make fun of it. So you just don't even
he did.
listen.
No.
You just had to do it.
They said they gave each other gruff.
No, but that's not good for our show. Like, that's not good for our show.
What do you mean?
For you, we just had a great conversation with a guy. He gives us a real answer, a look inside the locker room. And what do? You twist his words, you make up lies, all so you can get in a stupid dump joke.
Well said, Connor. Well said.
Oh, Nick.
Thank you, Nick.
Don't need you from the back.
It took everything in my heart not to ask him that directly.
All right, let's go to Grant in Minnesota. Grant, what's going on?
Maturity of you.
Thank you.
Pat,
What's going on, Grant?
let's go.
Hey, here
I'm
we
Grant
are.
from Minnesota. Unfortunately, I'm a Minnesota Vikings fan.
Oh, okay.
I got a couple of questions here. Second one's about betting, but my first one's for Boston Connor. Connor, I've got thousands.
Grant, I'm so sorry.
Grant.
It's a good one, Grant. I miss you, buddy.
Let's go to Charles in Chicago. What's going on, Charles?
Oh, Chuck.
First thing first, the Bears, let's go, undefeated, 2-0, best team in football. I'm not here to talk about the future Super Bowl challenge.
Hey,
I'm
what
here
is
to
the
talk
Bears
about New York football and how it's absolutely dead. And what if you're Danny, drop more dimes to 6'9"? What do you do when you're spending your first few years in the NFL with a team that absolutely stinks?
Great question. Great question by Charles in Chicago. Zito, I think you even admitted yesterday, I think you said it out loud on the show that
What do you mean?
the Chicago Bears are the worst 2-0 team in the NFL.
I had never said that.
Yeah, you did. You did.
Verbatim.
You did.
No, I did not.
Yeah, you
said
did.
it.
Yeah,
Whenever I hear
did.
Bears, I just go, Bear down.
yeah, and you probably didn't even let you said it out loud.
Yeah.
No, you did not
I
say
didn't say
that.
that.
It's
No,
kind of rude that we're putting you in that
Yeah.
position
Horrible
because
position.
other Bears fans are potentially wondering if you're a true Bears fan or not. Know that Zito is a true Bears fan.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't make a lot of sense. Even last year when they stunk, he stuck by whoever was at quarterback. He said, that's my quarterback. The Bears are so interesting because they are 2-0. Okay?
Yeah. Hell yeah, they are.
The Bears are 2-0. And they've played 3 good quarters out of 8, right?
Yeah.
3 good quarters out of 8 they've played. Will they be able to put 4 quarters together? That's the big question. And that's where you learn about a team, by the way. But those close games, they've been able to win. Unlike other teams who might play 6 good quarters.
And can't finish.
Can't finish.
Don't even go.
Whoa.
He wasn't talking about you.
No, not the Lions. Well, I am in the middle of a diatribe right now.
Slow down, Fox.
I am in the middle of a football monologue
Get
that
over
people
yourself, Foxy.
dive into about, hey, it doesn't matter when you play your best football. It's just that you play your best football when it matters. And it seems like the Bears have been able to do that. Now, there are some other teams that have played 6 great quarters of football.
Yeah.
Double-digit lead having football.
Yeah.
And then those last quarters, they just, for some reason, can't hold it together. The Bears are not that team this year. The Bears have been able to win those games that people think they shouldn't be able to win, where other teams in the same division, have lost those games that everybody assumes they're going to win or they should have won. And I think that's good news for the Bears. But the problem with the Bears is the guy who's going to be joining us in less than an hour is on fire. And that is a tough time to be in the NFC North. If you got Mitchell Trubisky and he's playing good football, great for you. That's
Got a
awesome.
chance.
If your defense is flying around, that's awesome. But there's a guy named Aaron Rodgers, who plays for the Green Bay Packers, in the NFC North, have been a prisoner of his persona of being a great football player for a long, long time at this point. Foxy, that was not a shot at the
it
defense.
sure felt like
not at all, because they
he just
haven't
happened to be
played 6
looking
good
right
quarters
at
of football
me.
this year.
Not even one.
They didn't play, played like shit against the Packers in the second half.
That's right.
And,
So they've only played 5 good quarters.
Right,
Right?
yeah.
We'll take
Close.
5. I mean, the Bears are 2 plays away from being 0-2. They
But we
stink.
capitalized every time we
They
beat you
stink.
guys.
Hey.
Scoreboard, by the way.
Hey, if you're
Foxy, how can you even talk from that body bag, dude?
if your aunt had balls, she'd be your uncle.
Yeah.
Okay?
Oh, yeah.
So we don't need to hear about the ifs.
Okay.
And butts.
I've never heard that one. So.
And the candy nuts.
Yeah. So let's get to a break. Okay.
The Bears stink.
If my aunt had balls, she would be my uncle.
Maybe. I don't know. It depends on how she identifies, obviously. But
Yeah.
the old saying. That I did not create that.
Oh.
It's a good saying.
That was pretty good.
Never heard it until then.
No, everybody list. There's people that are going to attack me for saying that now, and I should.
it's an expression.
It's an expression, yeah.
Yeah. Should have thought about that as it was coming out of my mouth. Though. Had to let it fly. Just
It's
had to
good,
let
though.
it fly. 22 minutes into hour 2. We're taking a little break. We'll be back on the other side. 1-888-MAD-6. Also got to talk about what's going on down in Tampa with Bruce Arians, Rob Gronkowski, Tom Brady. Seems like another comment was made that Rob Gronkowski could respond to from Bruce Arians, but I assume they won't because they're focused on football. But does that mean that there's a deep underlying issue down here in Tampa Bay, Gronkaneer world? We'll talk about that. Plenty more as well. 23 minutes after the hour, less than an hour to Aaron Rodgers. This is the Pat McAfee Show.
His top target, the burner on play 1, puts the Cougs on top.
What a start here in New Orleans, Adam. Everybody talked about De'Aaron King being a runner. The Tulane defense knew that. It almost felt like he was going to do it. Then he pulls up and drops a dime to Marquez Stevenson to start in an electrifying fashion, man.
The fridge, Pat, is back to punt. Ryan Wright.
I love this man. 6'3", 255. And he hits a bomb for the break. The fridge saw his team was in trouble, trotted out on the field, and hit a bomb. Yeah, and then I walked all the way through here, down here, sweating profusely, I'd assume. Up an elevator back here that will be loaded with humans. Up, all the way down here, into here, kickoff. Let's call it. That is absolutely magical for the brand and for Dane Roy. They had 2 returners the entire first half. They put one back there. The ball goes over his head. Perfect bounce, perfect coverage. Good for the University of Houston. Sound didn't work. Back to the board. If I'm in a student section or in a weird place, maybe a remote area, and you have my mic on, ready to roll, my mic on, ready to roll, my mic on. So the sound didn't work on the field. So now we're sprinting up to the booth to get the wheel open. And we don't have the sound works up there either. My makeup's all off. I thought I looked good. It's been melted
Pat McAfee Show.
That was quick. I did not expect it to be that quick. Wow. Did you see that? I mean, that was very quick there. Pat McAfee Show came in real hot. Appreciate that. It's called a Serious Bump because we are on Mad Dog Sports Radio, Channel 82 on Sirius XM. All the boys are here. We've talked about a lot of things today, but we have not talked about Bruce Arians and his quote about the tight end usage. More specifically, Rob Gronkowski in the first 2 games for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers that have led them to a 1-1 record thus far. A lot of people are questioning. Rob Gronkowski is getting paid $9 million to be a member of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Retired for a couple of years. Went and did the TV thing. He was a white tiger on Masked Singer. I mean, he fulfilled every prophecy that his agent had when he retired, saying he was going to go on to have a very successful and lucrative off-season or off-field career. He did all of those things. He comes back to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers after Tom Brady signs out of nowhere with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And Bruce Arians told us that he had no idea that Gronkowski was going to be available whenever they were courting Tom Brady. When Tom got there, he said, hey, how about Gronk? Boom, makes a move with the Patriots for like a 9th-round pick or whatever. He comes down, they pay him $9 million. Now, he has not gotten the ball much. He got an overthrow here. We saw in practice he was catching some balls, making some plays, but he has not been a focal point of the offense. And everybody knows if you watch the New England Patriots, when Rob Gronkowski was on the field, there was a chance he was either going to pancake somebody on a run or he was going to make a ridiculous catch in the nimble Clydesdale was going to be able to make a play after he got the ball. We assumed the same damn thing because he said he was healthy. His back was healthy. He was rejuvenated. He loves the game again because he got kind of worn out when he was up in New England. If you do recall, he did a press conference for a CBD company where he actually broke down in tears about how his body was so beat up and he didn't love the game as much and all this stuff. Now he's back playing football, not getting the ball as much. Is Rob Gronkowski buying in completely that his role is going to be much different than any other time in his NFL career whenever he's with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? I would assume Rob Gronkowski only cares about winning, but whenever his coach comes out and says, we're not throwing it 50 times to the tight ends. That's what we have receivers for. I would assume Gronkowski goes, yeah, I understand that, but like, I was on the NFL top 100 team of all time because I'm not just your basic ass run-of-the-mill tight end from 30 years ago, like whenever you started coaching and your offense was created, Mr. Arians. I am a guy that can change the game both in the rush game, which he has been doing, and in the pass game, I can get open and make plays like nobody else has ever been able to do in the past. I am a game changer. I have some of the most iconic tight end catches in the history of the sport. I would assume that Rob Gronkowski is potentially thinking a lot of those things, but he's not said any of those things because as long as they win, nobody cares. But for me, it's like, hey, BA, could you not just say that in maybe a different way? Or Bruce Arians doesn't give a single damn if Gronk cares, if Tom cares. Well, Tom messed up. He missed a thing. He did this. He did that. Oh, Gronk, we have receivers to catch the ball. We don't need tight end to do it. It's like all these things he's saying. It's very interesting because a lot of this stuff that's being said publicly was not said by Bill Belichick publicly. All the stuff that they had problems with allegedly was privately with Bill Belichick. So this is a very interesting dynamic that anytime Bruce Arians says anything about Gronk, about Tom, it's going to be a talking point. I would assume Bruce knows that. I would assume Bruce doesn't mean for any of this to be taken in a fashion that a lot of people are taking, including us, like, oh, this is a little bit offensive because you're saying that Gronk is just a standard tight end, then you're not acknowledging that Gronk is an electric factory and an unbelievable tight end. If he's playing anything like he was playing a couple years ago, we don't know if that's true or not because we haven't really got a taste of what he's been able to do thus far. But it's very interesting to hear these quotes coming out of Tampa Bay, and you have to think about what Tom and Gronk are thinking at this point. You just have to.
Yeah, I would assume that Gronk, who kind of retired because of injuries, didn't come out of that retirement to be a blocking tight end. Like, I figured he thought maybe he'd probably be in the passing game a little bit more. And I'm not saying Gronk's going to do this because Gronk probably does care about winning. But, like, is this something, or have you been a part of a team where a guy in the locker room isn't getting the ball and isn't part of the offense, that it starts maybe to cause a rift in the locker room?
No, I don't think I've ever been a part of that, to be honest. But, boy, I could see how it happens, though. and not with tight ends. Wide receivers are a natural greedy bunch. Like, hey, we want the ball. Because they can't control when they're getting the ball, and they can't control how much they get paid ultimately because they don't have they can't just say, hey, throw the ball to me. They have to get open. A lot of guys feel like they're always open. A lot of guys talk about how I'm not getting the ball as much. You hear these stories kind of linger around, but I was never a part of any of that. Our teams were always like, hey, let's just do whatever we got to do. And we didn't have that many, Reggie, T.Y. at the same time, tight end Kobe Fleener, and Dwayne Allen. I guess there was a little bit of conversation because everybody knew only one of them was going to get an extension, nobody else. But aside from that, you don't ever hear that conversation because if you're winning, nobody gives a damn.
Yeah.
These things are always happening inside, you would think, in conversations around their people. Like, he just said that's what we have wide receivers. Did he not watch any film before he signed it? Or did Tom just be like, hey, we need Gronk here? And that just was the extent of it. Because $9 million to a tight end is a lot of money. And if you get Gronkowski on your team and he's anywhere near what he was before, why would you not want to utilize that to the benefit? And it's like, well, his offensive system, I guess that's what we got wide receivers for, baby. I mean, what do you want from me?
Well, also, he was number 1 in New England, right? Like, he was by far the best ball catcher that we had. And in Tampa Bay, Godwin and Evans are both 1,000-yard receivers. So now he really has turned into like a third option. And why would they throw him the ball if he is going to get all of this attention in the red zone?
I would assume Tom is going to try to get him the ball more than he has the last two because it's a conversation piece. And Tom probably understands that Gronk is a weapon if we use him as such. But he can draw up plays for instance, Tom Brady told a story on the NFL 100 show with Rich Eisen, Bill Belichick, and I forget who else was at the table. And he talked about how he went down to Tennessee with Peyton Manning, and they were on a lake, and it was just those two having like a QB summit. And he said Peyton taught him this one particular protection where a guard would pull, and it looked like it was a run play, and they'd play action, and then they would slip Dallas Clark down the seam, basically, and he was wide open because it was such a hard sell on the run that it left the tight end wide open behind the linebackers that were biting on it or whatever. And he drew up the play for him, basically showed him film of it. And the Patriots used that against the Colts next year. And Tom Brady said something like, I think Gronk scored 100 touchdowns with this one simple play design. Like, that's a play design that is designed specifically to open your tight end wide open. Like, that is what the play design's for. So I would assume there are some things that either Gronk's thinking like, hey, we did this worked a lot. Or maybe Tom's even thinking, or other people are thinking. And it's very interesting because that's not BA's offense. So it's like, what are you going to, I don't know. It's very interesting because if Gronk doesn't start getting the ball, you would think like, why wouldn't you? But if they keep winning, nobody will talk about it. Nobody will care. This will be something we talk in the offseason if they don't win the Super Bowl. It's like, well, they did have Gronk, and they chose not to use him.
It's obviously super early and probably too early to tell. And like you said, if they end up winning, then it doesn't really matter. But do you think any part of Brady kind of feels hoodwinked? Like getting down there and he's like, what the fuck, man? I didn't think I was going to be taking this much shit the first 2 weeks of the season.
Tom getting buried publicly. Gronk's getting buried publicly. Yes. What are we doing down here? I think all Tom cares about is winning. He's probably only focused on winning. How do we win right now? But all that stuff is the reflection period after the season.
Right.
When you look back and you go like, could this been different? Could this been different? They got a lot of time to grow too, by the way.
Yeah, there's also a chance Gronk is a step slower and he's really just there to be a decoy.
They got a lot of.
Whoa.
I mean, see, we don't know if that's true or not.
No, we don't know if it's not.
True. I mean, it's a great way. It's very, very true. I mean, valid. Hey, Mitt, why do you put 2 exclamation points in front of a name? Like, what is that? Does that mean you think that it's a good call, or
pick it up?
Like, what is it?
For Rodgers. Those are for Aaron, apparently.
No. The call is not now. Hang up on that guy. The call is at 2:00.
It's 30 minutes from now.
Yeah, it's still 25 minutes from now. So, Mitt, just listen one time. I know you can't spell a thing on your Twitter, but
smartest guy in the room.
That wasn't in the Bach, Pat.
That's an inside joke that nobody gets. Anyways, Mitt, the guy that answers our phone, is our only intern. We don't do the interns. His dad was a man who hooked me up massively in life, and Mitt has actually started to open up, and I love his presence in the office.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But sometimes his stoogeness just rains down all over everybody else. It's a very interesting thing. Let's go to Drew in Pennsylvania. What's going on, Drew?
Hey, how we doing, boys?
Hey, not too shabby. How are you, Drew?
I'm doing fine. Hey, I'm in Scranton, Pennsylvania, but my wife is a Yinzer from Latrobe, so she's a former Yinzer like yourself.
Hey, Latrobe, the home of Rolling Rock back in the day, and then it moved over to New Jersey, I do believe.
Oh, Jersey.
That's right.
Yeah.
Arnold Palmer.
I didn't know
Arnie Palmer.
It's not bad. Arnold Palmer from Latrobe.
Oh, yeah.
Those green bottles,
Great.
Never good for beer. Oh, you like them?
Well, I like the look of them.
Yeah, but I think it's like scientifically proven.
They skunk quicker.
Yeah, that the sun beats the hell out of them.
Yeah, it does.
Like we used to house Rolling Rocks because they were made in the area. Yinglings as well made in the area, and Iron City's made in the area. We have a lot of beer in the area of Pittsburgh, but the Rolling Rock ones, the Heinekens, those green bottle beers, always felt like they tasted worse after a certain period of time than any other beer. And it turns out the science is the green bottle didn't block the sun rays enough, and it does skunk quicker.
That's why I was confused by the Corona bottle, like a clear bottle. What do you guess? Just
I guess they just
set
roll
up
the
for
dice.
disaster.
Corona kind of has a skunk taste to begin with, though.
A little bit.
I don't mind Coronas, but
they're good.
It does
I enjoy
kind of
them
have
quite
that
a bit.
skunk taste.
Extras.
What's that? The light one? Is that
Corona Extras.
No, there's like a Premier.
Premier.
Premier's the new one, yeah.
But they do have the clear bottle, which is an aggressive decision.
Aggressive.
And it's a lot of sun down there in Mexico, too, so you think they would have known that. There's also some shot you can put in a Corona that makes it taste like Fruity Pebbles.
No way.
Yeah.
Yep. What?
Yeah.
What's the shot?
I forget what it is. Somebody will find it.
Rum-chata?
It is unbelievable.
It's not rum chana.
I don't think it's
Is
that.
it
Anyways, Drew, sorry about that. What do you want to talk about, brother?
Yeah, learn something new every day. Hey, with the injury to Christian McCaffrey, out 4 to 6 weeks, possibly. If they go 1-5, 0-6, do you shut him down for next year? Do you start that whole tank for Trevor Lawrence again? What do you think?
Oh, they just paid him, too. I mean, that is so far down the road right now. Teddy Bridgewater, I would assume they're not going to bench him. So if they're not going to bench Teddy Bridgewater in an opportunity to tank after just paying him $20 million a year, I think, for the next 5 years, I think he got a $100 million or 3-year deal,
Yeah,
60 million. So they invested a lot of money in old Teddy Bridgewater. And if you ask Chris Ballard last year, whenever he made Jacoby Brissett a 2-year offer with $25 million per, he said that shorter deal was because we didn't know if he was going to be our long-term guy. They obviously bring in Phillip Rivers this offseason after Jacoby gets hurt last year, but Jacoby had a good outing. So I would assume that 3-year deal, it was a commitment, but it wasn't 100% we know if this guy's our guy or not. A few years back, Teddy Bridgewater was an MVP candidate. Then he had an incredible injury that happened in training camp that we heard about in Indianapolis because people are talking about Teddy being the next guy. I don't know if it was a knee or an Achilles or an ankle, knee. Something bad happened in training camp or in a practice where it's like, hey, Teddy Bridgewater's out. It's like, whoa, that sucks. This guy was about to take off. Then he signed with the Jets at one point for a $500,000 guarantee. Then he ends up at the Saints. Last year he goes 5-0. So I think there was a lot of question marks on whether or not Teddy Bridgewater was going to be the face of their franchise. So they signed him that 3-year deal, $20-some million. They kick Cam Newton out. And if Christian McCaffrey is out for 5 to 6 weeks, and they're losing bad by the time he comes back, week 7 or week 8, whatever it is. Do they shut him down? Then you would have to shut down Teddy Bridgewater then, too, because you paid him as well, and I don't think he would do that. And I don't think Matt Rule is going to be a guy in his first year as a head coach is going to be a guy who's like, hey, listen, we come in here and we quit. That's what we do.
Yeah,
I don't know. That's going to be a tough sell for the fans and the owner that invested a lot in him and the team. So I don't think they would shut him down, and I don't know if Christian McCaffrey would like that idea. Anyway, it seems like he's a workhorse type of guy, but it is incredibly unfortunate that he's out when they put a lot of money into him, and he is a main focal point of that entire offense. Sucks for Teddy, sucks for the Panthers, sucks for Christian McCaffrey, obviously, sucks for Matt Rule, sucks for everybody down there that he got hurt. But that's the NFL, baby. Health is wealth in the NFL, and that's a real thing.
And there's no way you could put that on Bridgewater's shoulders either. I mean, if his number one weapon goes down, then why would you just turn around and tank and be like, I guess we'll just go with a different quarterback in the draft?
It'll be interesting to see how Teddy Bridgewater is judged in these upcoming days because last year he had to operate in Drew Brees' offense, and he was successful. This year, they're kind of, I would assume they're building it around a Christian McCaffrey offense, but now he's out, so will Teddy still be successful in an offense that isn't built for him? I don't know. It's tough. Whenever people get hurt, it really changes the entire complexion of your roster, of your team, the direction of which way you're going to go. I mean, there is a lot that has to get figured out, but that's literally the NFL. That at the end of the year, whoever the healthiest team is, I would assume they're going to go on a very good run. In those who lost players in key positions, like everybody seemed to on Sunday, I mean, it's tough to know what type of team you're going to get.
Bacardi Limon, by the way.
Really? Bacardi Limon, you put that in with a Corona,
Really?
tastes like Fruity Pebbles.
Okay.
Yeah,
Delicious.
it is. I had a vacation one time that turned quickly into a Fruity Pebble. It was, the guy came up to me, he was like, you want a beer? I was like, yeah, I'll take a beer or whatever. He was like, Corona? I was like, yeah. He was like, I can add something to make it taste like Fruity Pebbles. And I was like, I'm a Fruity Pebbles guy.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm a Fruity Pebbles guy. He's like, I'll do it for you. Here you go. Try one. I'll bring you one regular beer, and then I'll bring you the Bacardi Limon one or whatever. And I was like, all right, next time, just hold the regular one. Then bring the Fruity Pebbles to me, pal. And those things were eliminated quickly.
Do you think that Carolina might pick up Devontae Freeman?
He's a hot name on the streets.
Yep.
Charles Robinson told us that yesterday.
Yeah.
Also look for, Giants also have a massive hole to fill in the backfield. We have Matthew Berry, fantasy football expert, joining us tomorrow, I believe. He's joining us tomorrow. Look for him to potentially have a thought on what running backs are about to explode in these situations where the top guy goes down, because that's big-time fantasy.
Yep.
A lot of fantasy football being affected by this. Not that I play. I don't know how anybody can commit to it for that long. I honestly have no idea how people do that. But Matthew Berry, the guy who created fantasy football, I think.
Pretty much.
Yeah. He'll have a bunch of names, I assume, that we should look out for. Like, hey, look for this, look for this, look for this, potentially sign this, like all that shit. That comes tomorrow. I'm pumped to talk to him, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Anytime I talk to somebody from a world that I don't fully know, I get excited for it because I'm like, whew, this person has no idea. I'm going to try to learn as a lifetime worth of shit in a one conversation. And that's basically with everybody.
Yeah.
That's how I feel. So I'm pumped for tomorrow. Let's go to Rich over there in Jersey. What's going on, Rich?
Hey, Pat, boys, what the fuck's going on?
Hey, pal. Nothing's going on over here. How about you over there?
Everything's going great, man. I just wanted to give a quick shout-out to Tone Diggs, who back when he did a 24-hour walk inspired me to not be a fat stooge anymore. I'm now 30 pounds down since that day.
30
Tony,
pounds.
Big
Wow.
props to you.
For those that don't know, Diggs once came into the studio, got on a microphone, and said, I could do 50 miles or something like that in 24 hours because one guy ran 100 miles in one day. Diggs, spouting out off at the mouth, says, I could do 50 miles in one day for sure. So immediately upon saying something like that in this particular office, it's like, huh, is that right?
All right.
So I put up a cash prize to Diggs, and he had to get to 30 miles, I believe, for the first cash prize.
Yep.
And then every mile after that, he got another $1,000. He made it to 40 miles, I believe, in 24 hours.
Right.
At one point, Connor ran a mile for him in under 7 minutes to add a mile to Diggs. He was on the treadmill for 20 hours straight, thought he was going to die, but it was a magical moment. And I didn't even know it was going to be helping the world because we were just trying to punish you for
Correct.
your
Yeah.
amount. Turns out, helped Rich out a lot. Congrats, Rich.
Richie!
Happy for you, Rich. Thanks for following along. What do you want to talk about, brother?
Yeah, you know what? I actually had a question for Connor. Connor, a couple of months ago, when Brady first got traded to the Buccaneers, you said that New England needs to find the next Drew Bledsoe. And everybody in the office looked at you like you were a stooge. And you said, so that person get the fuck out of the way for the next Tom Brady. Now, what do Cam Newton and Drew Bledsoe have in common?
Good question.
Number one overall picks of their respective.
All right, Rich. Can't do it. That was quite a hard tie there. Everybody's thinking about potentially extending Cam Newton long term. Not that Drew Bledsoe wasn't extended long term, but I think what you were saying is we need a stooge to get in there to potentially get hurt so we can find another gem.
Yeah, and we didn't have to get to the potentially get hurt. We got Stidham in there. Stidham came in. He became Bledsoe. Here comes Tom Brady, a.k.a. Cam Newton, and here we are.
By the way, Drew Bledsoe, great quarterback.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Oh, yeah. Great quarterback. But in that Dynasty book, he is just the beginning of that whole thing for that shot where he...
He's the prologue, actually.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he's... I feel bad for Drew. I mean, Drew Bledsoe owns like 7 wineries, I think, and hopefully everything's okay now, especially with the way fires are going over there. But I think he's drinking a lot of wine, enjoying his life. But he knows that Tom Brady was just sitting there behind him, just waiting to come in there and take over. Let's go to Gary in Connecticut. Is this our guy, Gary? UPS guy, Gary?
That's it. It's the Black Lives On, baby. What's happening?
Hey, what up, Gary? Good to hear from you. What do you want to talk about, brother?
I got 2 quick things. One I got for Connor. Connor, I'm going to make you feel like you're back home on the East Coast. You ready, Connor? Close them eyes. I'm going to do it to you. You ready?
I'm ready.
The 99 restaurant. Always a real deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, that stinks. What's next? What's next?
The other one is I got a little something for the Aaron Rodgers Tuesday. You know how they got that Got Milk with the mustache?
Oh.
You got art, baby. You got Aaron Rodgers Tuesday. I want to see Aaron Rodgers with a beret painting Ty Schmidt's face yellow with a cheese head on. Let's go. Can you do that?
I like that art. You see Aaron Rodgers Tuesday, ART. Maybe Aaron Rodgers next Bob Ross. That's good marketing. See, Gary has a good brain for us. This is art. I forgot about art, Aaron Rodgers Tuesday. He's coming up in like 20 minutes.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. I got a lot. I wrote down questions in my phone for him.
Nice.
Last week we did a lot of football talk, and I learned a lot. And we'll do that again, obviously, to see what he saw this past weekend against the Lions. And he went after Akuda like 10 times. You told us on draft night you were probably going to do that. Allegedly, nobody in the Lions organization listened to that, obviously. Just kind of let it go off and let it happen. But there's a lot of questions I have about Aaron Rodgers. I started writing them down one night on some vitamins. Last night I took some NyQuil before halftime because I was starting to get a little cold. I thought a little change of the season cold. Maybe, maybe it's, no, I can still smell. I can still smell.
You taste it?
And I could taste the NyQuil. Yeah, going down.
Good.
But, yeah, good news for everybody, by the way. I started writing down some questions. That's why I missed the MegaCast last night, by the way. They bumped me a little bit later in the evening, like 10:45-ish. I got a little cold, took some NyQuil, passed out, couldn't make it. That's on me. That's not on them. I watched it, though. I think it has a chance. Let's go to Brian in Miami. Oh, jeez. I mean, I do think it has a chance.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
If it was
The tech is a problem. The lagging is a problem.
Oh, yeah.
And there's literally nothing Reese and Kirk can do about it.
No.
They just got to sit there.
And just continually step over each other.
No. But with the guest as well, because the guest comes in and they don't know the lag, so they're literally just getting dropped into the lag. So you have to get past the first minute and a half of them learning about the lag, and then they get into it. And really good conversations get into it. But that first minute and a half, you just got to be like, okay, let's hope this person learns it quicker than everybody else has to. So they're gonna have to figure that out. But I like the alternate option for viewing. You know what I mean? I learned a lot about Peyton, learned a lot about Charles. Guy Fieri got top billing. I mean, I enjoyed that. That was awesome. Brian in Miami, you want to talk or no?
Hello? Hey. How's it going, guys?
Hey, not too shabby. How are you down there, pal?
Well. I am a Raven fan down here in South Florida. I'm actually in Broward County, about 15 minutes away from where Lamar Jackson grew up.
Whoa. Nice. Something in the water down there. He got something you didn't, maybe. That's tough.
So I actually have a question for Mr. Diggs, the Steelers fan there, if that's okay.
Broward County has a lot. Yeah, absolutely. Broward County has a lot.
All right, so I have a friendly wager for Mr. Diggs. I'm the Ravens fan. He's the Steeler fan. Thursday night, Thanksgiving Day, big game, Ravens versus Steelers, the first matchup of the year.
Okay.
Loser walks 40 miles?
Yeah, that's walk 40 miles.
I think that's what he was saying, yeah.
A lot of people reach out like, hey, let's just take your money and fucking bet it at FanDuel, okay?
Yeah, but the big thing is, I think a lot of people want to see you get punished for the Steelers losing.
I have that type of face.
Yeah. Well, hey, we all do, to be honest. We all have very punchable faces, I think. But it's impossible to do a bet on a live show with a guy from Miami and a guy in Indianapolis.
Just not going to work.
Because who's that guy? What's he going to do? Tweet a picture of himself on the call so we know that it's him? I mean, it doesn't make any sense.
No.
Listen, the Ravens are very, very good.
Very, very good.
I admit
Very, very good.
Hey, Steelers also. Very, very good.
Fun fact. T.J. Watt, Bud Dupree, Stephon Tuitt, and Cam Hayward all in the top 10 in pass rushers.
Hey, the Colts defense number one overall somehow. They gave up one incompletion to Gardner Minshew in week 1. They lose after week 2 against the Minnesota Vikings, holding them to 3 points, I think, or something, maybe 11 points. They snuck in there late.
Late one.
The Colts defense, number one defense in the league. And that's what I've been saying this whole time. The Colts defense, even though Gardner Minshew might have looked like Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, and Peyton Manning combined in week 1. Week 2, what they did to If I Die, I die. Kirk Cousins is the defense we're going to see moving forward. Number one defense in the NFL somehow. I have no idea how. The Pittsburgh Steelers defense has injured like 45 people. They just
been pretty good.
They just crush people with that defensive line. By stats and data, Colts number one defense in the league.
Well, yeah, they had one incompletion against Gardner Minshew, but not a lot of yards, you know? Make them dink and dunk.
A lot of points, though. Let's go to Alex in Boston. What's going on, Alex?
Hey, boys. How you doing today?
Not too shabby. How are you?
I'm doing really well. Start off this call by saying Patrick, my boy in Champaign, Illinois, said that I could not get on the call. So screw that guy. Enough times you get on.
Screw Patrick and Champaign.
Screw him. Screw that guy. That's what I'm saying. Especially because he's a Bears fan. I'm a Packers fan, and we got GOAT of all time coming on in a couple seconds. So not going to do too much bootlicking there. But other than that, question I have for you guys today. So one of the trends that a couple of people have been talking about is the fact that for a lot of these teams, like early in the season, there's a lot more like fourth down pressure where they're not just like punting it away anymore. Not sure if that's just something that's like because of the fact that like with a lot of these defenses not getting a lot of preseason games in, is that just like an issue with scheme or they just like trying to figure things out?
Great question, Alex. To hell with you, Patrick in Champaign, Illinois. Everybody says this revolves around data. So they have so much information now and people and machines that can collect so much information on like 4th and 2. They have a data book that is next to them or somebody in their ear that's like, in the past, 94% success rate, 6% fail rate. And at the moment that we're at, it seems like we should take that 94% and not worry about that 6%. And there's a lot of coaches that live and die by that. A lot of coaches that live and die. Frank Reich is another guy. Good coaches, by the way. There's good coaches that are like, if I hear that there's a 90% success rate in the history of this particular setup, I am going to take that percentage over having to give the ball back to whomever. And I think that is why you're seeing a lot more people go for it, a lot more people be aggressive because stats have shown in the past that they are more successful. Now, I have a question, though. In the past, when they weren't as aplenty, where defense is ready for those types of situations. So it used to be back in the day when somebody would go for it on like 4th and 2 or whatever, it was a big surprise. Oh my God, here we go. They have like a 2-point conversion play that they have in there. That's a special play that they pick it up. Now it's becoming very normal. I would like to see how the stats and numbers line up 3 years from now when defense know that a 4th and 2 is probably coming. Offenses don't just have their special short yardage play that they would normally have for 2-point conversions. Because I think data and numbers can be manipulated to tell any story you want to tell, depending on where you get it, when you get it. These numbers, the data that they're getting, has to come from a time, if they go back at all, where 4th and 2s, 4th and 3s were not a normal thing. Like if people went for it, it was a big deal. Normally a timeout was called. Yep. We go to commercial break. We come back on the other side. Holy shit, stick around. There's somebody going for it on 4th down in the middle of the second quarter. This never happens. So I think those plays were much different than they are currently. I'll be excited to see the data 2-3 years down the road on if this is played out or not. But I love watching a team go for it. I'm a punter on a team, so a lot of people would think that I don't love team going for it. I'm the complete opposite. There's actually a moment Bruce Arians and I had whenever he was the interim head coach, and we were 4th and 1 in our own end in the first quarter, and it ended up like half a yard or something like that. We got stuffed on a run, and I literally say to Bruce Arians, "You can get a fucking half yard, can you?" "Hell yeah, we can get a fucking half yard. We're stay on the field." Like I was literally next to him, like, "Hey, we can get a half a yard."
Taking him on.
And that's like a tone setter for your coach, by the way, and for the team. So even if you don't get it, at least your team's like, "Hey, this guy buys in. This guy believes in us more than anything else." But I think the numbers can paint any story you want them to paint. Not just in football, by the way. In
anything.
Anything.
The grand scheme.
Anything.
I like now that teams like, it used to drive me nuts when it was 4th and 1, 4th and 3 on the positive 40 going into score, and they would punt, and then if it is a touchback, it's only 20 yards, and then like we've talked about it again, that's 2 plays and they're already back out at the 40. Like you might as well just go ahead and try to get that 4th and 1, 4th and 3 or whatever if you're on the plus side.
We talked about that earlier because everybody kind of came after Gruden for kicking that field goal, and he looks like a genius now because the guy made the kick.
Yeah.
But let's say he doesn't make the kick; they're on the 44. Okay, so they are up a touchdown at that point. So if they punt it and he gets it at the 10 or the 15 or the 20 or whatever, what is that, 34 yards, or you do the math, 29 or 24 yards. If you're down a touchdown, you're probably going to be in prevent defense anyways because you can give up the field goal. It doesn't matter. You can get field. So for them to get to the 44, if Drew Brees is hot enough to score a touchdown against you, they're going to get there in 2 plays anyways because your defense is doing that. So I saw a lot of people on the internet that were like, bad decision by Gruden. Of course it paid off because of this or whatever. But stats say if you give the ball to 44, they're going to score, blah, blah, blah. It's like, yeah, but in the moment, like you win the game. That's a game winner right there. Put the ball through the uprights of your job, which Carlson slaughtered that ball. But also, if you think about it from the other side, if they punt that, pin them at the 10, if that defense is playing prevent, which they would, probably keep everything inside so they have to use their timeouts, they're going to pick up that 24 yards, which the defense does not care about, by the way, because it does not matter, relatively quickly to try to drain some clock. So I saw a lot of people going after it. I just thought it was a good call.
They go for 2 and win the game all of a sudden.
As the original silicone wedding ring, Kalo has mastered comfort, functionality, and style. Designed to be worn during all of your everyday activities, it is the perfect alternative for those who live an active lifestyle. The Kalo ring is an alternative to the traditional wedding band, which in many cases is not best to be worn every day during activities due to real safety concerns and discomfort. Those who work with their hands and those who use their hands around uneven objects often risk injury when their rings get caught on objects and don't let go. You can Google ring avulsion, but only if you have a strong stomach.
Oh, God.
Think Jimmy Fallon whenever he was knocked out drunk and fell down. Since I got married last month, I've been wearing a Kalo. It is so much more comfortable than a traditional wedding ring, and now you can try it out as well with a special offer for fans of this show. You get 20% off your entire order when you go to QALO.com and use promo code Pat McAfee with no spaces. That's KALO.com, promo code Pat McAfee for 20% off. Rings start as low as $19. What's that? $3.80 you're getting off. It's a no-brainer to try it out. You'll absolutely love it. We're about to dump the phone lines. If you have a question for Aaron Rodgers, call in now. 1-888-MAD-DOG6. Use hashtag Pat McAfee Show live if you have a question for him. Zito will keep up with that. Aaron Rodgers joins us on the other side. Hour 2 is wrapping up right meow. We can't thank you enough for listening or watching wherever the hell you may be. This is Tuesday, September 22nd, the Pat McAfee Show. Hour 3 is about to be electric with AJ and Aaron Rodgers. Yeah! Woo! We are moments before going out onto the field and kicking some field goals to raise a crap ton of money for the kids. And I'm about to become an old man. He said I do this, then I do this, then I do this. Oh, Cuzzy. Oh, my God. You want a little bit of that, Grandpa? Hey, you see, you go, I'm just so excited we can raise her money, because that's what we're here for. What's going on? Hey, hey, hey. It is hard to see down. Cool, Grandpa. There's no way I lived this long in real life.
Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for our contestant and cheer him on as he attempts to raise $70,000 for cancer research. On your mark, get set, go!
I've been a fan of the Colts since the Mayflower came from Baltimore.
I don't know, sir. You sound a little familiar.
This is the greatest city on earth. And ladies and gentlemen, it was my honor to raise $70,000 for cancer research. Sorry, I missed a couple. I'm an old man. Let's go. Let's
Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Pat McAfee and $70,000 towards cancer research. Go Colts!
And the ball's leaning back. Couldn't see. It's a lot more difficult seeing. Hi! Old man's got a hammer.
Do not talk about it.
Pat McAfee.
Do not talk about
Pat McAfee.
One fight at a time, fellas.
The Pat McAfee Show.
That's right.
That was awesome.
I like that one.
Fight Club
bump?
I like that one.
Yes.
See, I ain't never seen Fight Club, but I like the way that thing really came. That's the one where the guy's fighting himself the entire time. Don't understand how he gets bruises. But I'm sure there's a really deep story behind it.
You got Brad Pitt intro you into the third hour.
Feels pretty good. Not only is Brad Pitt introing us, also, we have a man with one of the greatest chins in the history of sports. Super Bowl champion, national champion, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Aaron James Hall. Bird call from the boys there.
How you doing? Still haven't seen Fight Club?
No. I'm not a big movie buff, to be honest.
You gotta see it, man. You absolutely have to see it. Does that convince you?
AJ, I've heard that so much through my life because I too much ADD. I don't watch a lot of movies. I spent my childhood kicking a soccer ball off the side of my house to hopefully build up enough muscle to kick a ball hard enough for soccer reasons, not for football reasons. But boy, I'll tell you what, there ain't nothing like the look on somebody's face when you tell them right to their face that their favorite movie you've never seen before. It's like, oh, what? What are you talking? It's like, yeah, I just ain't got the time. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, people get so emotional when you tell them you haven't seen a certain show, a certain movie. But hey, I guess, does that mean it's just a great show? If people get that emotional and it's a personal attack on them if you don't watch their show?
Oh, Game of Thrones.
Man.
Oh, hey, have you ever seen Game of Thrones, AJ?
Unfortunately, I have not.
AJ! Come on!
Dude! Terrible human, yeah.
Be careful, Aaron loves that show.
Hey, by the way, I've never watched. Our friend has been on that show, allegedly. They said he was a very unathletic guy for a while, the internet, which was very rude of them, but I've never seen either. But you got to see it, AJ. You have got to see that show. Speaking of shows, did you watch the MegaCast last night? I was supposed to be on there. Got a little bit too late, got a little bit sick, had to fall asleep. How'd you feel about it?
I did watch a little bit of the MegaCast. I'm glad you texted me earlier and let me know about it being on. I almost forgot to go check the other alternate broadcasts. I'm all for them having multiple options for the broadcast. I think it's a great thing. I don't know how ESPN feels like. Are you pulling away viewers, though, from your main broadcast by doing this or what? Or they just think, hey, as long as it's in the ESPN family, we're good?
As long as they're under the umbrella, I don't think anybody cares. But I assume technology-wise, they'll get that thing humming a little bit. I think it has a chance. It was definitely entertaining. The game also was a great game. And I assume a man that watched the game last night was not playing in the game last night. But whenever he is playing the football this year, he looks better than he has ever looked in his entire life. Yep. Ladies and gentlemen, GOAT, BOAT, you name it, quarterback for the Green Bay Packers, perennial All-Pro, Aaron Handsome Rodgers.
It doesn't have to be like this every week. It really doesn't.
Hey, it's just week 2. Take it easy. Let's relax. This is what you said to me last week. Maybe it'll wear out, but I'll tell you what, with the way you're playing the football, I think you deserve that every single week, so I'm going to bring it. Let's talk about week 2. Now listen, week 1, hey, it's just 1 week. I mean, I do look better than I've looked probably in like 75 years playing football, maybe the best football I've ever played, but let's not even talk about it. After week 2 now, that offense is humming. Aaron Jones is crushing. You guys have to feel very good, including you, about your play, the offensive play, and the entire team over there at the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, I mean, how can you not? We've scored, we had 35 last couple days ago, scored 41 the first week. So, yeah, we're feeling pretty good about things. But it's early, Pat. It's early. The game's in.
Can I talk about you drinking Pedialyte out of a Gatorade bottle? Did they tell you to do that because of this show?
No.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, of course. It takes all of us.
Aaron, hold on. What did you just say? I'm sorry, I blacked out for a second.
Oh, yeah. Of course. Go ahead, AJ.
Hey, Aaron, you talked about how, of course you feel good. You guys are lighting up. Does it make everyone...
Oh, my God, we sound like the MegaCast right now.
What happened?
Boys, get it together over there, please.
Aaron, you go.
Did you see the Gatorade label on the water bottle?
I did see that, and I also saw it was still the same color purple from the week before that we had talked about on the show.
And... So what do you think the reason for that was?
Well, I think what happened was you came on the show and you said, everybody's making a big deal out of what I drank. It was just Pedialyte, which, by the way, is an alternative to Gatorade. It has less sugar and it's more so for... And they heard that and they said, oh, you want to drink Pedialyte? That's fine. But it's going to sure look like to everybody that doesn't listen to that damn show that you're drinking a purple Gatorade.
Hey, it's still Pedialyte.
Yeah! You're going to get fined for that. You're going to get fined for that for sure.
Bring it on.
Yeah, I respect it. Sorry, AJ.
Oh no, I'm good. I mean, where do I want to go from there, Aaron? I know we're talking over each other the whole time. I want to go a non-football route. So this is it's a Tuesday, off day for you. I'm curious. Take us behind the scenes. You for some reason have sat in the same position both times you've called into the show, right? Just a brick wall because you don't want to get less. Don't let anybody have any kind of info on where you are right now. Like you could be in Afghanistan, it doesn't matter. But what's your off day look like? Let's say you're already done watching your Bob Lazar documentaries and Ancient Aliens. What do you like on Netflix right now? Like what are you doing when you're not doing football things?
First of all, this is a green screen right here. Green screen. No idea where I'm at. Ty called me, interrupted me from, watching dodgeball. It's really getting into it.
Really?
Just started the round of 32.
Now, are you and Ben Stiller friends?
Big day.
Are you and Ben Stiller friends?
Yeah. We've been friendly over the years. I have a lot of love for his films. My favorite Ben Stiller movie is probably a little-known one called Heavyweights.
Let's go.
And I know I heard right before I came on there was a conversation about when you say your favorite movie or TV show and somebody hasn't seen it, it's like the worst thing ever. So I'm not going to shame anybody for not seeing it, but it's a great 90s movie. It's worth it. It has some of the Mighty Ducks characters in it. Mm-hmm. Goldberg makes an appearance. He's one of the main characters. It's a good movie.
Well, Aaron, lunch has been canceled due to lack of hustle. Deal with it. I am a big Heavyweights fan. And Goldberg, by the way, not only in Heavyweights and in the Mighty Ducks series, also just went through an entire battle with, I believe, meth.
Yeah.
But he came out on the other side of it. So we're all very happy for the Goldberg.
Don't worry.
I was going to say, you guys both lost some weight. You guys look pretty chiseled, two of you.
Me and Goldberg?
Yeah.
Different methods, but same destination. You know what I mean? Different method, same destination. Let's stick with off the field stuff. What you did to that dog in that State Farm commercial is one of the most ridiculous things I've ever seen in my life.
I want to know what you mean.
Well, you're playing catch with a dog, and classic dog is they like to play fetch. So you throw a ball, dog's natural nature will be, which I guess put those two words together there, to get the ball and retrieve, hey, we're having a good time. Then you took the ball, and I believe you threw it 200 yards into a canyon. Game over for the dog. Unbelievable there.
I needed some space. The dog was just very codependent. Long day on set. I don't know if you've talked to your partner there, AJ, but it's not the first dog commercial I've been in. I really question his parenting. He said some real questionable things to his kids about the last dog I was in a commercial with. And I just want to assure everybody out there was no animal harmed in the filming of either of those two commercials. And that, I really enjoyed the time I spent with those dogs and have a lot of love and affection for all animals.
AJ, what you tell your kids?
I knew he was going to get to this. I was going to let you tell him, but yeah. So I texted Aaron whenever I saw this next commercial with another second prop dog. So the original prop dog he had, it was a commercial with Randall Cobb, I believe. The house burnt down, maybe something like that.
Oh yeah.
Amazing acting by both you guys, by the way.
Amazing.
Always. So, my kids say, like, if they see him on TV, oh, there's Uncle Aaron, look at that. Oh, Dad, is that Uncle Aaron's dog? I'm like, nah, it's a prop dog. They're like, well, what happens to that? I was like, oh, I think he has it killed afterwards.
What the hell's wrong with you?
Like, oh, no,
AJ.
no. And then we let him know I was joking, and it wasn't.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
So then I just sent him a text after this other commercial. I was like, man, you killed a second prop dog. This is getting crazy or something. And he's like, you better not continue to tell the kids that.
An animal.
Yeah. I'm glad you told the truth of that story. I really felt like you were going to do your casual, weave in some lies into a story that was actually rooted in truth for once.
Hey, here's a question. After watching that commercial, there was a conversation a couple years ago. Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, who can throw the ball further? I think Pat Mahomes threw the ball out of the stadium at one point over a jumbotron or over the whatever, you get it. Then Josh Allen came out and he was like, I'd like to be in that. And there was a chance that they were potentially going to have a throw-off. I know that you would never participate in something like that because it doesn't feel like that is a very Aaron Rodgers thing to do. What is the longest you've ever thrown? Do you even know that number or do you not care? Like, what is the longest you've ever thrown a ball? Because when I saw that little tiny ball, it came out real smooth, and the dog obviously lost his toy and his good time and his companionship. But as I saw the ball fly, I was like, I wonder how far this dude can throw the ball because you notoriously have a rocket. I mean, you hit the sky in the Lions stadium there whenever you brought that thing down.
Yeah, somewhere between 68 and 70, Pat. I don't know, right in that sweet spot.
69 yards is how far you threw it. Nice, congrats.
Hell yeah! Hell yeah!
Of course you have, by the way. Of course you have.
Pat, it's not about how far, it's about how accurate, you know?
That's a conversation about Drew Brees today. Everybody's talking the internet last night, and this is what happens when you're an NFL quarterback. If anything happens in a primetime game, obviously the world is collapsing. Last week, it was Tom Brady's dead. This guy's not going to be able to win without Bill. Last night, it's like Drew, who wore all of his own records on his own cleats last night. He can't throw the ball far anymore. But the big thing is, we talked to Pops, Mike Adams, who played in the NFL for a long time. He was like, Drew was never really that big arm guy. He just always was able to deliver it in a proper spot with proper timing. Do you obviously believe that the overreaction from people and that type of shit is just ridiculous?
I believe it's totally ridiculous. I mean, it doesn't matter what week of the season. It's just amplified because it's the second week of the year. It's going to be overreaction Monday and Tuesday and probably, all week, regardless of how you play. That's kind of the nature of our business, that, you play once a week and you have to deal with it. But now with the coverage of our business and because, basketball is winding down, in the conference finals, and baseball hasn't even got to the playoffs yet. There's a lot of conversation about our sport every single day, and it's I think it's ridiculous. I really do. We're 2 weeks in. Let things play out. Teams don't figure out their identity until weeks in the season. You know this, Pat, AJ. Like, it takes a while to figure out what kind of team you are. Obviously, we had a ton of injuries yesterday or 2 days ago. It's some marquee players, which is going to affect the teams and their how they look. Obviously the Niners had some really tough injuries. Saquon in New York. There was a ton of injuries across the league. So let's let these teams settle in, see who's healthy, and see what kind of teams they're going to be in. I think back to a couple years ago when New England played Kansas City on like a Sunday or Monday night game, and Kansas City whooped them. And everybody was saying, New England's 2-2 now, and is it time for Brady to retire? What's he done since then? Mic drop. Come on.
It's real. It's very real.
Yeah, but do you understand why there is the overreaction? It's because of all the eyeballs on football and everyone cares so much. Like, do you get why it's there?
Well, Age, I think it's more than that. It's not just the eyeballs. There's always been eyeballs on football. It's now you got all these, so-called experts with platforms to talk about.
He's talking about us.
Everybody has
You're talking about us?
No. I'm talking about the people who have no idea what they're doing.
Oh, not us. Not us.
Yeah.
Not us, of course. Not us, of course. No.
Pat, I love you and the boys, and I already made a big, compliment about how I see you guys moving forward in the future. And by the way, great article by Bruce Feldman. That was really good.
Thank you. I didn't want to talk about it because it's one of the biggest fluff pieces I've ever read about myself, and it's kind of embarrassing, to be honest with you. But it was a nice trip down memory lane.
Sidebar: did you have final say in the editing of that interview?
No, actually, he sent me a DM. Okay, he sent me a DM and was like, I've interviewed a bunch of your former teammates, coaches, and coworkers about their first reaction to you and for them to tell me a story. Do you have a minute to chat about it? And I was like, wait a minute. Like, what is this? What is this all about? And then I talked to him, and it was a fun trip down memory lane. I ended up talking to him for like an hour and 10 minutes or whatever through it all. And it was supposed to come out last week, I thought, and then they pushed it to today. And this morning when I woke up and read it, I was intrigued to hear what everybody said. But yeah, it was very nice of that man. And of all my friends that I formerly worked with, I appreciate them so much for that. You read that, huh? You read the whole thing? It was long.
It was long. I knew I was going to talk to you today, and it felt like if you might, because it was such a fluff piece, you might be quizzing me about certain things in the article that I might not have known before about you. But so I had to be ready.
You ever just
also,
walk? You ever
wear sleeves?
No. Well, especially now that I'm kind of in shape. I'm getting fatter currently, so you'll see the longer sleeves come on at one point whenever the arm and the body just kind of meld into one. You know what I mean? Which is going to happen.
Sidebar: Have you done another tan, or are you leaving you all natural?
Well, right now it's currently just the fallout from the honeymoon tan and the spray tan that is still in my soul because that was a very, very dark spray tan.
Hell
But
yeah.
I'll probably get another one here relatively soon if I had to guess.
Also, another sidebar. I don't know if the boys know this or you know this, but do you know that AJ never wears undershirts underneath his long sleeve garb?
Really?
Let the nipples
Aaron was
out.
so disturbed one game. Remember, I think I just talked over you, Pat, but Aaron was super disturbed at me when I walked in with a full zip-up sweater with no undershirt. He's in his little locker probably eating like a peanut butter and banana sandwich that was all disgusting. I remember him like, are you? Like, he was so disturbed, so now I do it as much as I possibly.
Is that strange to you or the boys or anybody?
I don't know. I would
It's
never.
not a zipper.
Yeah, what a
If it-
freak. Yeah, he's a
If
loser.
it's got a zipper, then yeah, put an undershirt.
Yeah,
on.
'cause
Not a zipper undershirt. Thank you.
Yeah, I agree. Do you wear anything weird under the pads? Do you wear anything weird? Do you have like a? No, it doesn't seem like you're that superstitious of a guy. Do you have like a go-to underneath?
No, I mean, I've as opposed to an internet thing I saw, I've never worn a thong underwear underneath my uniform.
AJ do that too?
That was out there?
That was on the internet?
That was on the internet. I'm sure the boys can find it.
Well, absolutely we can. I didn't know there was a chance that you did that. Let's talk about the game against the Lions. When we had you on draft night, we'll pull the thong up for sure. And if you're playing in a thong this good, more power to you because the kit and caboodle got to be uncomfortable throughout the entire thing. You play
Actually, I thought about it after watching Bull Durham. You know, he's wearing the
That's probably how it started. Whenever you were on draft night, you were on with us. You had a denim jacket on. You looked unbelievable. You had a good beard. You're right in the middle of the quarantine, real action. And the Lions had their pick, and they picked Jeff Okudah. And we said, what does that mean to you as somebody who has to play against that team twice? You said, well, we're going to probably have to find out whether or not he can figure out what an NFL defense is quickly. You might target him early before he learns what's going to go happen. You did that. I mean, 10 times you went after Okudah, 7 times successfully, a lot of yards. Was that an actual thought game plan, or were you just going in there like, we have a rookie over here, we have to remember that, because there's just things that he's not going to be able to know until he learns from experience?
Well, it actually wasn't a concerted effort. I mean, I don't feel like I was looking over and going, oh, I'm going after 30. Because the fact that he's a talented player. I mean, he is very athletic, fast, and I said what I said on draft night. I meant it. I mean, there's been numerous guys over the years who you've gone against in our division who hey, you better throw some completions and touchdowns on him early because this guy is going to figure it out and be a hell of a player. And I think he has that ability for sure. We hit a couple passes, but it wasn't like I was, really trying to target him. Their whole plan was to really take away DeMonte. They doubled him most of the game. So whether it was Okudah or one of the other guys on him, they had safety help the majority of the time he was in there. Obviously, he came out in the third quarter, and they went to some more single safety stuff. But there was a lot of help on the outside for both those guys for a good part of the game.
Is that a thing you do? Like, if let's say a guy goes out, do you ever just, like Pat says, he tells a story about how Peyton Manning has watched a guy throw a ball at a guy 15 times in a row. Is that something that is like, do you guys recognize it in real time and go right after him?
If a guy gets hurt and comes out and they put a new guy in?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's for sure. Depending on who that guy is. If they're putting in a veteran backup, maybe not. If they're putting a guy they just signed off the practice squad, you might test him a couple times.
You see the number 40-something walk out there, you're like, okay, well, that guy, good luck, Bob.
Although Rodgers Cromartie wore a number in the 40s for a little while, and I felt like he was one of the rare 40s who you're not going to maybe throw over every single time at. But there's some numbers, and you see them all the time in camp. Like you see a young free agent or rookie free agent who has just a linebacker number that's a really bad one, or wearing number 60 maybe is kind of been a number that, or the numbers, like you're a linebacker or a fullback and you're wearing maybe 49, and it's like, ooh, something else, or you're a receiver wearing 30 number or something. It's like 20 number. It's like, I don't know, man. You might need to get some in the 80s there to get some respect on that name. And then there's been a lot of guys who have been had great camps and couldn't wait to get out of numbers. There's just a few numbers that are kind of marked, I think, for not making the team.
The story that that AJ was referring to there, it was my first year in Indianapolis, and they had a corner get hurt or something. And I saw this terrible number come trotting on the field. And Peyton, you see his massive head. Literally just watch the guy come off the sideline all the way across the field, and he just stayed on him. And then literally you watch him make a check, basically. And that guy, 8 straight plays. It was just like boom, bang, boom, bang. You're done for, fella. And I was like, man, this is a cold world out here. This is a cold world out here.
Yeah, that happens. That definitely happens. It's happened many times over the years for us. You know, you hate to see a guy get hurt, but you're always watching what number's coming in here. And then, you know, quick little review of the scouting report in your head about the backups. And like, okay.
Oh, this guy's slow. Oh, okay, I do recall. There was a moment where you obviously were a little fiery. And it was, you were controlling the play clock, okay? We were down, the play clock was ticking down. You had just sent somebody in motion, I believe, and you were I think you were going to snap it last second. LaFleur calls a timeout on the sideline before a delay of game penalty happens, which is interesting because you got very upset, which I assume you were like, hey, LaFleur, like, hey, take it easy, LaFleur, okay? I got this thing kind of figured out. Was there a conversation between you and him after that or since then about, hey, like, yo, can you have a little bit of faith in your guy out here? Is that kind of how that goes?
Look, you know, since about 3:22 Sunday, I haven't said a word to him. So,
Oh, my God.
I mean, I'm sure that's what, you know, some website will write now. They'll take that quote right there. But
oh yeah,
Maddie and I are, you know, really close, and it's been a fun year working together. We talked, you know, right away on the sideline after that possession, and had a couple laughs about it yesterday. But you know, that's just part of it. Sometimes it's just the trust. You know, I don't fault him. We had, you know, a few too many delay games last year. But I felt so close to getting, you know, the perfect check off there that I was just a little frustrated. And you know what? Like in this time they're winning with no fans, they can hear everything. So I'm not sure if they had a nice delay on what I said and were able to kind of mute some of that out and add some of that fake crowd noise in, but it was probably necessary at that point.
I can fathom it. Looked like it.
Yeah.
Hey, have you sent a note to Big Mike congratulating him on his first big win down?
Hey, McCarthy, Big Mike.
Yeah. That was an amazing win. I haven't yet, but I definitely will be. Happy for Coach, you know, to win a game like that, down 9 with just a few minutes left, drive down, and then for the brand, beautiful, strange but beautiful onside kick that Atlanta chose to wait, you know, for it to go 10, and then, you know, double for the brand, 46 for the win.
Bingo, GZ. There we go.
Yeah. You know, speaking of for the brand, how about that kicker for Kansas City, huh? That was pretty impressive.
Hey, I talked to him yesterday. He was making from 70 at halftime. So whenever he went out there for like the 53 and the 58, he was like, yeah, like this is not a problem at all. And he just knocked. I mean, those were incredible kicks.
I mean, I loved his demeanor. He kicks the first one, and there's the, you know, false start. He drills it. And you just like see him kind of like turn. He's like focused. It's like it's nothing to him. And then he kicks the next one with the timeout and drills it. And now you're thinking, can he really make 3 in a row over 50, like splitting it? Yep.
Yeah, he did. Knocks it home. He said he got pissed off that they called the icing on him. Like he was like, "Oh, you think that's going to affect me?" He's like the type of kicker who wants to get mad at people. Like Michael Jordan made up that story about the Utah Jazz coach at the restaurant. Like, "Oh, he said that he's going to have." Like, I think that is what he's like. Is Mason Crosby like that? Because he's off to a hell of a start as well over there.
Well, he hasn't missed any. I mean, he's been kicking great. He's been kicking great most of his career, though. I mean, he's been such a rock for us. I mean, really, he has had one bad game in all the years we've been together. And since that game, I think he's made like 97% of his kicks or something crazy. After they tried to, you know, run him out of town. Overreaction Monday and Tuesday.
Yeah, a lot of that.
But Mace is real steady. And I think he's helped by one of the most interesting and possibly strange punters in J.K. Scott, who you know, is super, super steady as well. And I think they've done a good job with the whole operation with Hunter snapping and J.K. And, you know, kickers are interesting. They're on their own all the time. They're in and out of. I always give them shit about like, are you guys actually gonna punt today or kick today? And you're out there wearing just like slip-on shoes and robes and stuff. What are you guys doing in practice all day? But,
you don't want to overdo it, Aaron. You don't want to overdo it.
Yeah. Gotta get pampered. They take it easy. Getting pedicures and manicures all the time at the stadium. They have spot treatment they're working on. It's pretty good. But hey, if they make it, that's all that matters.
Bingo.
Hey, going back to the Dallas game, what do you think of them going for 2 when they were down, 39-30? And I know Mike explained it somehow with the analytics. Is that something you guys look at?
Yeah, our analytics guy, Connor Lewis, and I, who's an awesome guy. He's been with us for a few years now, a really bright guy. We talk a lot about situations, and that's a situation we have talked about down, down 15. I like going for 1 in that situation because I think mentally it keeps you kind of still in it. He has always advocated going for 2 in that situation because it does 2 things. 1, brings you within 7, obviously, which is just to score an extra point. But the second thing it does, if you get it, it allows you to go for 2 in the win should you want to. But it's just a difference of opinion. I think, I know that the analytics have always been big with Mike, and I'm sure that was not even a question in that situation. And we had situations like that. I remember we played Carolina in, 15, in a similar situation. We had an opportunity to go down, I believe we were down, 17 at the time, and we decided to go for 2 there and got it to pull us within 15. So, similar situation.
A lot of people are going to be like, Aaron Rodgers has the memory of a guy who blah, blah, blah. He just recalled a game from 2015 in perfect perpetuity. That's what's going to be said from that. So I appreciate you doing that for the internet right there.
Either that or they'll cancel me because I might be off on my numbers.
Oh, you can't be off right there, Aaron. 5 years ago, if you're going to go out, you have to be spot on there. Do you mind if we take a caller or 2 to ask you a question?
Only if it's, I heard that Logan called in last week, Age. Is that true?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Yes, he did. And Pat's like, oh, yeah, I'm sure you know this guy. And I'm like, what? Yeah, actually, I do know Logan.
And by the way, I knew Logan, too, because I ate at that place whenever I called your game that you decided not to play.
He's a big Pat McAfee fan.
He's a good guy.
Really big fan.
All right, let's go to Steven in Minnesota.
He might give you a drink for free when you come in next time.
He did, actually. Wow. It was very nice of him that first time. I took it down. I eliminated it. Had to do it. Let's go to Steven in Minnesota. I'm excited to hear this because we got a lot of tweets after last week's appearance where they said, like, I'm in Detroit, I'm in Minnesota, I hate Aaron Rodgers, and I hate your show because it's making me almost like Aaron Rodgers. I wonder if Steven's one of those people. Let's go to Steven in Minnesota. What's up, bub?
I was thinking the exact same thing. I was not a fan until I started watching on this show, and turned me into a pretty decent fan. Actually, I have a question for Aaron if there's time.
Look what we're doing, Aaron. Yeah. Look what we're doing, by the way. Yeah. You're welcome, Aaron Rodgers. Go ahead, Steven.
All right. So, Aaron, having firsthand experience, does Packers rookie running back A.J. Dillon or Pat McAfee have the bigger thighs?
Oh, great question. This is a great question.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think they both like to show them off. Pat in the Bahamas at a golf tournament refused to wear his shorts to the full length. He kept rolling them up to show off his quads. AJ Dillon, instead of having the ladies in the back that AJ knows so well who do the sewing for us, instead of having them cut his shorts down to like a super short length, he rolled them up as well. I'm not sure what he already has the biggest legs I've ever seen. No offense, Pat.
Son of a gun.
But he really, really likes showing those things off.
Well, you should. I respect that a lot. Let's talk about another running back there, Aaron Jones. Dallas Cowboys game last year, I think he had 4 touchdowns. It was like a breakout game in the national moment. Yeah, 2 days ago, he had a massive game for you. As a quarterback, obviously, a running game helps you. Having a weapon like that helps you. What has Aaron Jones meant to the offense? Because he's new to the scene, and he has been able to make massive moments in memory so far.
Well, he's been doing this for a few years, Pat. I just don't think he's gotten the recognition. He's a really versatile back. He made a catch down the sidelines over his head, leaping grab that was pretty incredible. He made a catch, the touchdown catch I threw him, I really put it on his back shoulder. not on purpose. And he just caught that thing like it was nothing and waltzed in the end zone. And then we come out the second half, and he takes an inside handoff and goes 75 for a touchdown. He's just a really versatile guy. And then late in the game, he picks up a blitz in the A-gap, number 40 for the Lions, who has the hardest head I think I've seen or heard in a long time. I mean, he just was thumping people the entire game. Pretty incredible. But Jonesy stood in there and gave me a little extra time to hit Marquez down the sidelines. So he's really improved in some areas, but he's always been super talented. It's just given him the opportunity to go out and make plays. And then Jamal Williams, again, I want to talk about Jamal a little bit too. 2 days ago, 8 carries, 63 yards, and had a few catches as well. He's a vital part of our offense. And I've talked about him a lot, but I just think he deserves credit because he has transformed himself into an even more explosive back. He's already been a great blocker, really good route runner. But, having 2 guys is really important to our success. And, as much as we love Jonesy, and we do, and he's so damn talented, Jamal is an important part of what we're doing too.
Aaron, you got quite the eclectic taste in music, so I'm just curious, what's the pregame playlist like so that I can calibrate before Sunday?
There we go. Hey, new shirt, by the way. Have you seen the new shirt, Aaron?
I need to zoom in from the camera. I can't really see what's going on.
That's a good one. Hold on, we'll zoom in.
I'm just focused on the mustache. That's all I can see right now.
Mustache is good. Somebody called one after him. Look at that one. It's a good shirt.
I need one of those.
Yeah. It's a good shirt.
Definitely need one of those.
Yeah, for sure.
I want to rock it next week on this show.
Yes.
Please.
CFO Phil, send one to whatever location has that brick wall behind it.
Get it out to the stadium ASAP,
There we
please.
go.
I want AJ wearing one too. And maybe a sleeveless one for you, Pat.
Thank you. I will have it on.
With a V-neck or no?
I don't do the V-neck, no, because my chest isn't very impressive, so I try to keep that tied up. You know what I mean? Try to keep.
Do you have a baby pack like Age or not?
No, I can go full extension. You know what I mean? But it is not good. I got a bird chest. It's bad. It is.
I don't believe that for 1 second.
Okay, well, it's true. I'm just telling you.
Anyway, back to the question about pregame playlists.
Thank you.
I usually keep it in the 90s.
Smart.
Ooh.
So who's that?
90s alternative, Pearl Jam.
Let's go.
Counting Crows.
Wow.
Creed.
Foo Fighters.
Creed?
No.
No Creed?
Come on.
No, Creed.
No.
With that doesn't get you going for a game? Are you kidding me?
No, but I have a funny Creed story. So, in 2007, we're playing the Dallas Cowboys on Thursday night. We're both 10-1. I have long hair, and I'm a backup. And before the game, we walked down the field, and I don't know if it was on purpose, but our intro song was Creed with Arms Wide Open. Mm-hmm. And I looked to my buddy Nate Weir, who AJ knows Nate really well, and we both said this is going to be a good night. And that was the night I came in off the bench and played pretty well and kind of changed the narrative about me from possible draft bust to hey, this guy might be able to play maybe.
Thank you, Creed.
Yeah. So it's like what Hansel says in Zoolander when he's talking about Sting. I don't really listen to the music that Scott Stapp and Creed made, but the fact that he's doing it, and he's out there, I respect that.
Let's go to Nate in Pittsburgh. Nate, what's going on?
Hey, what's up? Hello to all the boys, Mr. Hawk, Mr. Rodgers. Thanks for having me. You said you were watching some old film and you saw things to help elevate your game.
Yes!
I noticed this past Sunday you were smiling, shaking hands, giving a lot of high fives to the boys on the side. What have you seen in this old footage that has rejuvenated your love? Or is it something else about this 2020 season that seems to have you just in a better headspace? And also, will we ever learn about what you saw exactly in that old practice?
Thank you, Nate. I forgot about that. Answer coming now. Excited to hear it.
I just think some things are better left unsaid.
No! It's a said show. That's what the show is. You said things here.
Let's just do a setup every week. Like, this may be the week I might address some of the things that I saw.
Next.
Then it's just like, you never know. Could this be the week? Maybe. Tune in.
Oh, good tease.
Great tease.
Good
Clip that.
tease. All right, we have to go to a break.
Can I answer the question or not?
Yo, yeah, I would
Tell
love,
us.
love you to. I thought you weren't going to answer it because you said something that
Well,
you're not going
that
to
was
say.
just the last part of the question. The other part was, why am I having so much fun?
Bingo.
I have just a new and increased love of life. And I've made decisions and changes and habits that put me in a lot better headspace. And there's just a lot of things that have come together in my life over the last few months that have really been enjoyable and reminded me, given me perspective on life and in football to view things through the most positive lens I possibly can. And that's why I'm having so much fun. And it starts with love. And then surround yourself with people that you really enjoy. This show is, to get sentimental, this show is just another step in that, because I love Age so much. And Pat, I have so much respect for you and the boys. Like, this was such a fun opportunity. And now I look forward to this every Tuesday. And it's just another step in the process of, it's mindfulness and positivity and love and kindness and integrity. And just putting it all together, I think for me is made me a lot happier. And I'm just enjoying football and enjoying life a lot more.
Well, I'm incredibly happy that I didn't just step on you not to give that answer, because that is going to be clipped everywhere. Aaron Rodgers enjoying his life. Aaron, we're happy you're enjoying this life. We're happy you're joining us each week. And I hope to God that you continue to play the way you're playing, because these conversations have been awesome. And if you drop down at all, I want to let you know, we're a stern but fair group here. We will jump your ass over there.
I expect you to.
Ladies and gentlemen, Aaron Rodgers. Thank you, Aaron. You're the man.
Love you, Aaron.
That was
Love
awesome.
you, Aaron.
Aaron, did you hear Ty in the background, by the way, when you were talking about that? Ty was literally in the background. Yes, yes. So happy that you're back. Oh,
Geez, why'd you hang up
just
on
hangs up just like that.
Jay.
That was awesome, AJ.
Yeah.
We have to get to a break. Literally, we have to right now get to a break, or we weren't going to make it to the end of the show. We'll react to everything we just heard. He looked rejuvenated, reinvigorated, and he just said, yeah, that's absolutely correct. Tuesday, September 22nd, we're back on the other side. This is the Pat McAfee Show with McAfee and Hawk Sports Talk. Seconds before I hit the anvil. I've been trying to time myself out for 15 seconds. I've never spoken for 15 seconds before. There's no chance. It's a new era for college football. All right, let's go. You're all badasses. Thank you all for your service. Have an incredible day out there. It's the safest place in America right now. Holy hell. All right, everybody smile. You're probably not supposed to. Hey, safe travels. We appreciate the hell out of all of you. Go kick ass. Hoo-ah. Hey, the best game in the history of the drumline is going to be today. You guys are going to steal the show and step back. How's it going? My name's Pat. I swing a big hammer, and when I talk, people listen. fucking day. So I had to switch it to damn. When I get going like that, it really catches. Hey, big cold swing today, huh? Another week about to start, Foxy. Triple H texted me, said he enjoyed it. Nice. He said if anybody's making fun of you for the size of your hammer, just tell them it's not the size, it's how you swing it. Welcome back to McAfee and Hawk here on this Tuesday, September 22nd, Aaron Rodgers Tuesday. We just got done talking to him. It's at the beat drop. AJ Hawk here. AJ, that was a cool conversation. There's going to be a lot of takeaways from people that are outside of this particular office and show about what Aaron Rodgers just said there, pal.
Yeah, I think a lot of teams, defensive coordinators around the league will probably not like hearing that, like how good of a place he seems to be in, like spreading a positive message, like getting it out there. Oh, it's all about love, you know? Like they're like, oh no, what are we supposed to do now? This guy put it all together.
So hold on. So the Aaron Rodgers that we always thought was just the most talented quarterback to ever play, now he's in the best headspace he's ever been in, which is everybody that's in professional football knows that is what matters the most, by the way. And I harp on it a lot on this show, and I think a lot of people like kind of come after me for it. But if a team likes each other and if a player is happy, they're going to perform their best. That's why Google's got like 70 nap things out there, and they got a full cafeteria. It's like happy workers are the best work. Aaron just feels like he has it all coming together. Good for him. Good for Matty LaFleur, old AJ.
Yeah, him and old Matty LaFleur seem to be doing great. Like people love to put a wedge between them, but they seem to always have a steady thing going. And it's fun to watch them interact on the sideline too. Like Aaron's older than him, isn't he? Like how old is LaFleur now?
I think they're either
like 40.
Same age, close to age, but definitely near there. They're peers.
McVay. I'm thinking McVay is younger.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, their relationship's good. I would assume whenever he called that timeout instead of getting a delay game, I mean, the way it was depicted on television, it was like Aaron looked over and was like, hey, listen up, all right? You just do what you do. I'll do what I do. Okay, because he did the tight end release.
Yeah, Tanyan. He had him for
tight end release, and he had it dropped off, and he would have been touchdown or whatever. So you can see why Aaron's upset. But if you have that relationship with your coach, that's good, by the way. And the fact that Aaron's that passionate, that means what? He cares, and he's also that happy. I mean, that's good news. We have a poll going out right now, AJ, has a lot of votes on it, about whether or not coaches should be mandated to wear the mask. Zito, your poll is 22,500 votes thus far. That's a lot of people. What's it saying?
Yep. For yep, 24.8%, and then for nope, 75.2%.
75.2% people of 22,522 said that coaches should not be required to wear a mask on a sideline because of the current COVID testing protocols that the NFL has, which means they're getting tested like 5-6 times a week. The players are out there tackling each other. The refs have masks on until they have to talk to each other. The coaches are being fined $100,000 per, and teams are getting fined $250,000 if it's deemed reckless with their mask usage or whatever. I just don't know. I don't know how you're going to get coaches to stop doing it. It's already hard enough to communicate with people. Then they know that they've been tested 6 times and everybody around them is negative. Do you feel the same way I feel with that whole thing? And it feels like a large majority of humans on the internet agree with that, which is not normally the case.
Yeah, well, my question is the reason for them. What is behind the reason for them wearing a mask? Is it more for optics, or is it more for to try to not spread the disease? But when you argue that, I'm like, well, you're with them every day, all day, and these guys get tested too, so I don't know. Like, what are we trying to get? Maybe who's the sponsor? Is it Motorola? Who's on? Not anymore. It was back in the day.
Bose?
Yeah, Bose.
Bose.
Bose, yeah, Motorola from like 1989. That's a good reference. I think what if those guys came up with some kind of prototype for coaches? We saw all these dumb helmet masks they made. Make one with a headset and some weird shield that doesn't fog up, and it lets them see their face, but they're covered somehow.
I don't know, because I think, you even hear it in report whenever they throw to somebody who obviously has a mask on, it just automatically sounds like it's muffled. And when those coaches are trying to communicate with the players, it's already muffled enough because guys have helmets on, they're tired or sweat, there's a lot going on. $100,000 is a lot of money. $250,000 fine to the organization. Obviously, the organizations, billionaires can pay that, like no big deal. $100,000 fines now coaches make a lot of money too, but that is a significant amount of money. And that's the NFL saying, hey, listen, you're going to have to change. This is what's going to have to happen. I just don't see a lot of those old dogs learning new tricks and being like, yeah, okay, man, you shove something down my nose 6 times a week. Everybody else is negative. Now you want me not be able to speak to my players. Get off my ass for a second. But the NFL said, hey, this is a priority, obviously.
Yeah, it's definitely. They're letting everybody know it's a priority, and I'm sure the fines will double, triple, they'll go astronomical if they continue to do this. Some coaches seem to have an easier time than others, I guess, doing it. But I'm sure all of them have the best intentions. They're going into the game like, hey, I'm going to wear this thing the whole game. I've got this figured out. We've worked on it. I got it as comfortable as I want. And then all of a sudden, the first time they go 3 and out, they freak out and they take their mask down. The mask thing is very interesting to me. It really, because I asked this question about the NBA bubble, and I got attacked on Twitter. I said, hey, real question. I have a real question. If you're in a bubble, you see, like Bubble Boy was being protected from everything outside. Yep. And if you're in a bubble and anybody to get in, now granted, we didn't know that Postmates was just walking into the bubble and just delivering and dropping off food. There's been a couple moments, I guess, where but if you're in a bubble where everybody's getting tested and you have to check into every single room, and then all of a sudden in the bubble, the guys that weren't in the games, they had to have their masks on, but then whenever they got in there, they breathe on each other and sweat on each other. From the moment, I was like, what? If you're in a bubble, why do they have to wear a mask? Like, what's going on here? I was told that I was an idiot for even asking a question. I don't respect or appreciate anything that's going on or the efforts anybody's making. I'm like, whoa. I'm just trying to use a little common sense in a situation that I guess you can't have much because it's unprecedented. But if everybody's getting tested, to get into those stadiums, Mark Davis or whatever didn't even go to the game last night because he said, if fans can't go, I won't go. Yep. To get into these places, now granted, fans are there in some places, so maybe they can spit COVID onto coaches and stuff like that. But it feels like it's locked down a lot. To add that extra $100,000 because guys who are trying to communicate with people I think that is. That is a heavy fine there.
Do we know, are they having to wear masks like in the locker room before they come out on the field? Like, are the players masked up, and then when they go out on the field, they can take them off? And
run that video. John Gruden in the locker room afterwards.
Yeah, afterwards.
That video of John Gruden after the game in the locker room, by the way, love what the Raiders are doing. Love how bought in they are, and I love this energy. I'm not sure he had a mask on whenever he did this. Okay, so there was a cameraman in the back there that had a full sleeve on his face, but aside from that, nobody had a mask, and they were about to jump on top of each other there. So is that going to be banned? Are they going to get fined for celebrating after a game in the locker room whenever they broke in a new stadium? What level are we taking this to? When are they supposed to have masks? When are they not? This is a wild time to be in the NFL. I'm happy I'm not there.
Yeah, and to add another layer to it, didn't you see John Gruden's comments? He said, I've had the virus, so I'm trying. He said, I'm doing my best here. I'm trying, basically.
I got the antibodies, man. Knock on wood if you're with me. Well, don't knock with an open hand, though, because COVID can get on the wood.
True. Sanitize first.
And you don't want to pick that up. Just knock with the outside of your hand, you know what I mean? Like when you're going up to a dog, you know what I mean? To let them smell your hand. It's very interesting, man. I'm happy. By the way, numbers came out, 0 positives from players and coaches, just with personnel. We're 2 weeks into this thing. Let's not overreact. But, boy, I'm pumped for the NFL buying in. Let's go to Chris in Kansas City. What's going on, Chris?
Hey, Pat. Hey, boys. How you guys doing today?
Hey, pal. Not too shabby. Great conversation with Aaron Rodgers. We learned a lot about him and football. Anything else you want to talk about, bud?
Yeah, man. I've been trying to get on with Mr. Rodgers, being the legend that he is, because I think he has some great insight on this. But my question is, with Trevor Lawrence and all the attention he's getting, is with the teams that are looking at picking him up, the New Yorks and the entire state of Ohio and those teams that careers kind of go to die over the last quarter century, if he should just think about his career and pull an Eli Manning and say, hey, don't draft me. I don't want to go to those places. I want to go somewhere where I can succeed.
everybody thought that was going to potentially happen with Joey Burrow this past offseason. And by everybody, I think we even kind of pushed that potential narrative as well, because we thought if there was smoke, there was fire. And with the Bengals, but Joey Burrow has bought in. He's the face of that franchise for a long time. That Eli Manning move, if it was to happen in current day, that'd be tough. That'd be very, very tough to stick with.
But you also, if you're Trevor Lawrence, you have to wait until draft day to see who drafts you. Like, you can't say, hey, there's 6 teams I don't want to go to. Don't draft me. Like, I guess you could tell him that. One of those 6 is going to take you.
You have to have the utmost amount of confidence, by the way. Like, I'm better than your franchise, by the way. So, not going. Imagine that. Trevor Lawrence could do it, by the way. National champion, Heisman. I mean, everything. Everybody talks about him just being like the perfect human being as well off the field. It's like if Trevor Lawrence did it, I decided, like, I'll just go back to Clemson if I got to play for you, so don't draft me. Like, that would be such a big dog comment that I don't know if I'd be able to handle it, to be 100% honest. I would lose my mind if somebody said that. Like, I
don't see it happening, but it would be. I am curious to see if somebody does pull another Eli Manning. Like, if that can happen in present day. I'm sure it can, but
you'd have to go full heel. You'd have to go full heel. You'd have to just buy in and be like, yeah, that team stinks. And just kind of go somewhere else. And then you have to have a team on the other side that's like, okay, we'll take this guy who just told another team that they stink publicly. I mean, there's a lot of people that have to buy in, and maybe it'll happen with somebody, but I think that's going to be a long shot.
It's going to be a tough one. You're right. You're going to have a very confident kid that has a lot of people in his ear at the same time.
Yeah, a lot of people in his ear that definitely have his best interest at heart. Let's go to Caleb in Wisconsin.
Hello.
Hello.
All right, how's it going, Pat?
Hey, not too shabby there, pal. How are you?
Good. My question for today was Saquon Barkley, with him being injured and New York being just a dumpster fire, do you think that he should get out of New York?
See, everybody wants him to get out. Everybody wants him to leave. He bought into the Joe Judge thing, and I just don't know if that's a person you want to get out of your building. Now, if Saquon comes out and says, I need to get out of here, that's a whole different story. Then you got to get him out of there, like Jamal Adams when he won out of the Jets, and he gets out of there and plays great football. But I don't know if Joe Judge wants to lose Saquon Barkley, one of the leaders of the team, one of the best football players in the NFL, who's bought in. Now, it sucks that he's hurt. He's had a bad couple weeks here in 2020. He'll bounce back better than ever. I want to talk to you, though, about the best, most comfortable pair of shorts and pants that we own in this office.
Hands down.
We would like to tell you a little bit about a company called, hit the music, Bird Dog.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Sex is cool, but have you ever tried built-in underwear?
Oh, yeah.
Everyone knows Bird Dog shorts, but now they make pants. They stole Lululemon's designer, and now they're just doing it better than Lululemon. Bird Dogs are pants, but they have the underwear built in. They look exactly like khakis or chinos, but feel like silky soft pajamas. They're my work pants, my golf pants, and my happy hour pants. Well, you haven't been able to go to a happy hour in Indiana because it's actually illegal, but you get it. These are all-terrain shorts you can wear everywhere and pants that you can wear everywhere. What's the favorite part about the Bird Dogs pants? The comfort, the fit, the material, the stretch, you name it. It's all of the above. Not only are their shorts next level, but so are their pants. Go to birddogs.com and enter code McAfee, and they'll throw in a free pair of nunchucks. Oh! That's right. You get a free pair of nunchucks. An actual murder weapon comes alongside the most comfortable shorts or pants you've ever worn. That's birddogs.com. Promo code McAfee, and boom. A new song and a free pair of nunchucks with your pair of Bird Dogs. You will not take these things off, I promise you. And starting this Thursday, we will have the Cutwater Clutch Challenge, where my lady and I, or I at the house, will perform some form of trick shot. And if you match it, you get entered into a pool to potentially win a $1,000 Visa gift card. Wow. We're going to give away 25 of those things over the next couple weeks.
25.
So, and when we get to 1 million subscribers on YouTube, we're giving away $100,000 in cash. Other than that, we got nothing else to promote or talk about. AJ, final words here as we wrap up Tuesday, September 22nd.
Fun show. I'm glad I don't know if that's going to stick. You had a guy call in and say, Aaron Rodgers Tuesdays? Is that going to stick?
I don't think so, but it was a good effort by that guy for sure.
Good effort, yeah. Well, I think we appreciate all efforts, so keep throwing them out our way, especially Pat's way. But excited that Aaron was in a good space, and I think that bodes well for Packer fans all over the place.
I agree. Mad Dog Russo, Mad Dog Russo on the other side. This has been the Pat McAfee Show. We'll see you mañana. Hey, you have a good day too over there, Bob. You have a good day.
See you, man.
AJ, there's a couple other things I'd like to talk to you about. The Oakland Raiders looked very good at the football last night. After watching a little bit of the megacast, it was kind of Watching the MegaCast, I got so captivated by the conversation and the figuring out of tech that I wasn't able to really watch the game a little bit, so I had to bounce back and forth here to watch the game. But that Saints team, I thought they were going to come out and bury him. Michael Thomas put out a tweet that was like, this is going to get ugly. He had to delete it, by the way. The Raiders look like a resilient bunch. Derek Carr looked very good, and his cleats were next level. I love those things. But that team, Darren Waller, Josh Jacobs, they have a couple. Richard, I believe, if he doesn't drop that pitch, I mean, they probably win by 3 scores at this point. But John Gruden's got something special building out there in the desert, AJ. What do you think?
I mean, it's taken me a little bit. It's made me surprised, I guess, when I've watched them. The fact they've done it 2 games in a row, I understand it's still very early on, but it speaks well for the Raiders and their future that their young guys are playing well, too. Josh Jacobs, I love this dude. I know he has a great story behind him, but watch he picks up third downs and key moments, when they really need him. He's just a smart runner, and I like him. I think he's a huge asset for them. And Derek Carr does seem to be is he a Gruden guy now after 2 games?
I don't know if Gruden has ever come out and said that he's not as one of his guys. Every conversation, though, that they have is after Derek Carr, they're going to find a quarterback out there that Gruden loves. It's like last year they took a lot of people by surprise with the amount of games they won. This year they're winning games. I think at this point, if you're a Raiders fan, you're like, this isn't a surprise anymore. We're a good team. Somebody finally talk about us, and this is the East Coast bias thing. I think with Las Vegas, they'll get a lot more eyes on them. I like the thought of Las Vegas having a team, by the way. Them shooting Las Vegas, I thought last night, good for Las Vegas, awesome. By the way, getting back on the national scene as opposed to just being known as the place that is an excuse for ridiculous shit to happen. For instance, I think 2020 has taken has replaced Vegas. You lose $10,000 and they'll be like, oh, that's Vegas. You know what I mean? Oh, that's just the way it goes. Oh, I'm more hungover than I've ever been for 2 weeks. Oh, that's Vegas. Oh, I made a terrible life decision. Oh, that's Vegas. Now it's oh, that's 2020. This person, well, that's 2020. They kind of go hand in hand at this point. But Vegas getting a lot more shot on the air. In this team, I think this is a team that people will enjoy because not only can Derek Carr sling it and Darren Waller is incredible, but they pound the rock. And to your point about Josh Jacobs, I thought he was hurt at one point last night. There was a point where I thought he wasn't going to come back in the game. He was limping on the sideline. And then he was back getting the rock on 3rd and short again. It was this team's resilient. They're built for the long haul. And Derek Carr seems to be a quarterback that everybody's like, hey, this guy good. And Aguilar, he was a meme and a punchline in Philadelphia. Last night he's making plays for the Raiders. I mean, things are looking up for the Las Vegas Raiders, and they're undefeated at the moment.
Yeah, they're undefeated 2-0. Let's see if they can finish out the first quarter 4-0, then you really, I think, have to take them for real. But I think Aaron said it best earlier. We don't really know. Nobody knows who they are yet. They don't know. Some guys some teams are off to a great start. They feel pretty good, and other teams are off to a terrible start and trying to find a way to save their jobs.
Let's get to the phone call. Let's go to Jake in Texas. What's going on, Jake?
Hey, what's going on? First off, just want to say, huge Packers fan, and to AJ, I'm just super thankful for what you did for Green Bay, and yeah, super thankful for you guys.
Great work, AJ.
Good job, AJ.
Thank you, Don, AJ.
Thanks, AJ. In the name of AJ, amen.
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 Does he have a question?
Nope.
That was it.
That was it. Paulie in New York. What's going on, Paulie?
Hey, Pat, how you doing? It's an honor to talk to you and AJ. Connor, your stooge get bent.
Get bent. I haven't heard that in a long time.
Big Bills Mafia guy here, and I just wanted to ask you a quick question. Who's your front runner for MVP, and why is it Josh Allen?
Great question. Josh Allen, Matt Hasselbeck, Dan Orlovsky, I believe Ryan Clark. There's been a lot. No, not Matt Hasselbeck. Dan Orlovsky, Ryan Clark, somebody else. They've all said that Josh Allen is more important to their team than any other quarterback in the NFL right now in the MVP conversation. I think Kyler Murray is a guy that should be in the conversation. Russell Wilson obviously should be in the conversation. Josh Allen, I guess, should be in the conversation for sure. But the MVP thing, that is Aaron Rodgers should be in the conversation. I mean, that is a season-long thing. Who's hot? Who can keep up? Is Josh Allen the guy that he is right now, or is Josh Allen a guy who maybe falters off? We don't know. Last year, he took a big step. This year, he took a big step. Getting Stephon Diggs is a big deal. That team looks awesome, and they've looked awesome for the last couple of years. Is Cam Newton potentially going to squeak into that conversation if he rattle off some games? The MVP is so far out from now. I don't even know why that conversation happens, but since it is right to make sure we name every human that potentially could be in that list.
Yeah, name them all. Why don't you? And Josh Allen, sure. Why not? If you're going to be talking about MVPs right now, you should throw him in the list. He's through 2 games. He's played very, very well, but it's almost it makes zero sense really to try to pick an MVP right now.
Yeah, well, he's beat the Jets and the Dolphins, so I mean, it's really not going to get harder than that.
But big conversation right now is who's the MVP, and Josh Allen. Dan Orlovsky said it. Ryan Clark said it, and I think Ryan Clark put him at number 2, but he said, I agree with what you just said there, Dan. I haven't watched enough of the Bills Mafia But I respect Dan and Ryan Clark's opinion. They're like, hey, he means the most to his team right now at the moment. I think it's going to be difficult to argue against Russell Wilson.
He's the favorite.
I think it's going to be difficult to argue against Kyler Murray, even if he continues to play it the way he's playing. How about Aaron Rodgers playing better football than he's ever played, and he's happier than he's ever been, so it's probably only going to continue. I mean, there's a lot of people that are on that list. MVP conversation before Week 8 is hilarious. But, hey, hey, that's sports talk, baby.
That's sports talk, baby.
Hey, that's sports talk.
Hey, would you throw any other non-quarterbacks into that mix?
Darren Waller.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to Antonio in Wisconsin.
Derrick Henry is the first non-quarterback on this list, and he's about 20 people down.
Hey, give the ball
DeAndre Hopkins
to Derrick Henry. DeAndre Hopkins said, I'm pushing for Kyler Murray for MVP in a tweet last night. So he's sick because Kyler Murray, I guess, has a bunch of records. And DeAndre Hopkins was like, I'm tired of this dude not getting talked about. He is unbelievable to watch. Kyler Murray is unbelievable to watch play football. He's faster than you think. He throws the ball faster than you think. He is very, very good and a lot of fun. I'm happy. A lot of good teams cooking right now. A lot of young good teams. Antonio in Wisconsin, what's going on, pal?
Hey, how you doing down there, bub?
Hey, not too shabby there. I mean, I think I just heard Connor almost choke on a bottle.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Hey, so Pat, big fan of the show. This question is more so for AJ, being that I'm from Wisconsin and he's from, playing for the Packers. Ty can probably weigh in on this too. But how are you a fan of squeaky cold cheese curds versus the hot cheese curds? And also, what do you dip them in? Is it ranch? Because that's a Midwest thing. It better not be marinara. Don't be one of those people.
So the cheese curds is a big deal. I went to that place right across the street from the stadium.
Logan was there.
What's that place called? No, it wasn't Logan's place. It was like a old school, like 700-year-old. It felt like.
Oh, the one with the butter burgers?
Yeah, butter burgers and cheese curds. What's it called?
I think.
Yeah, Kroll's. Yeah. It was built like a living room, but then there was a big ass bar in the middle of it, and there's people just blacked out all around.
That's awesome.
It was awesome. And I had those cheese curds because they forced me to have them. I put it in ketchup because I put everything in ketchup, but I could see how ranch dressing is the right move. AJ, did you get in cheese curds when you were a Packer?
I did not. My wife actually likes cheese curds. Never really my thing. I figured I was going to let Ty take that one first if you didn't.
Well, he said if you're not a marinara guy, and I'm exclusively a cheese curds and marinara guy.
Sorry. So are cheese curds like a provolone stick? Because I only had two of them.
They can be. I mean, I'm not from Wisconsin, so I'm not like, I love fucking Culver's cheese curds. I mean, I don't know how accurate those are, but I think you can get multiple different kinds of cheeses in there, and then they just bread them,
So it's a cheese stick, but it's a small one.
Pretty much, yeah.
Cheese balls.
There's not the breading is not as thick as the cheese stick.
It's not.
Yeah, it's harder to bread them.
I had a couple of them. It wasn't bad. There was a guy literally blacked out next to me, and he just rolled him out the back door, and he said he'll be back tonight for the game. He comes right next door.
Sleep in the alley.
I bet you he's there right now.
Gotta love that.
If there's somebody in that place, they say, he comes all the time. And Mark, I forget his name. You got to get out of here, Mark. And he just rolls out.
Oh, Mark the Shark.
It was like maybe 1 o'clock in the afternoon, I think, and he was just blacked out drunk. And they were like, he comes in off the late shift, comes in immediately after work, comes in there like at 10 a.m. or whatever, blacks out, goes home, comes back for the night, goes to work, same, put it on repeat.
It's like Norm from Cheers.
Yeah, he's been doing it for like 20 years. He was right next to me. It was awesome. It was incredible. It was startling. I don't think I've ever seen somebody that blacked out in public at that time of day just for no reason.
What a hero.
But he was known by everybody. Everybody's like, all right, man, got to get out of here. And he just fucking rolls out. It was incredible. Green Bay's a special place, dude. It is a special place. Patrick in Columbus, the home of A.J. Hawk, Ohio State legend. What do you want to talk about?
What's up, Pat, Mr. Hawk? I got a question for you. The NFC South and the NFC East are both 2-6 after 2 weeks. Do we see a losing team make the playoffs this year?
That's interesting because they're adding an extra team, a couple teams into the playoff on each side. I think you'll see a lot, maybe like 3 teams from one division make it. I'm not sure if we'll see anything else like that. What do you think, AJ?
West. Yeah, there's 16 teams making the playoffs now? Is that
17?
right?
17?
14.
14? 16? I don't know. I got confused too. Have you heard what college football's doing? They're playing like 1-1, 2, and like at the end, this like bonus game they're doing, the Big Ten?
No, I did not hear that, but I did hear that Notre Dame's game has been suspended due to an outbreak in the COVID, which Big Ten is not allowing to happen with the way they set up their schedule. So, I mean, there is some COVID things. What did you hear, though, with the Big Ten? I'm sure you know more than us because you're in the middle of Big Ten cult country.
However the schedule is, like there's bonus game where you play like the top ranks like play each other for this bonus game, but if you've already played that team earlier in the season, you just go down the line. I don't know. It's out there.
You're talking about interconference or same conference?
They're all playing each other, but it's like an added game or something. the last game or whatever they're doing.
So they're trying to get Ohio State on television one more time.
Mm-hmm. Like on the opposite side of the.
Yeah, hopefully. Then they'll go to the Big Ten championship game.
In Indianapolis, by the way. It is happening here,
But
which is awesome.
If it was like the East and the West, and the top team from the East was playing the top team from the West, wouldn't they be playing in the conference championship the next
I
week?
believe he said it has to do with rankings.
Yeah, I don't know. Honestly, I don't. A guy told me this yesterday, and I acted like I should have known. I acted like I already knew what was going on.
Was that General Bob Carpenter that was telling you that? Because he's probably still in the front lines. Let's go to Tyler in Indiana before we wrap up the show. What's up, Tyler?
Hey, what's up, boys? Hey, Pat. Hey, AJ. Hey, question for AJ. When you guys were doing that Super Bowl run, did you guys jam out to Green and Yellow by Lil Wayne?
Oh, great question.
Yeah, when did that come out?
2012, I believe that was the year.
Oh, is it the year after then?
I think it was after the Super Bowl that came out. But Lil Wayne was around a few times.
Cool story, dude.
It was during the fucking. It was during the Super Bowl.
Yeah, it was during the Super Bowl run.
Yeah, so like 2011.
Yeah, 2012.
Green and yellow.
I don't even remember. I remember the song. Yeah, I do. But I don't know if the team rallied around it. The team rallied around the fact that Lil Wayne was a fan of the Packers.
You guys rallied around Lil Wayne being a fan? Like, hey, we got to go out here and do this for Lil Wayne.
Yeah, usually like when you saw those guys bringing everybody up, giving speeches before the game, like it was usually there was always a reference to Lil Wayne, and then usually Coach Mike McCarthy would reference Lil Wayne like right before the prayer.
Like the great little tune she said. Now let's talk to the Lord, our Father who art in heaven. That's awesome. I didn't even think about that because when Lil Wayne came out as that diehard Packers fan with that green and yellow, I did not know, and he stuck with it. But
surprising.
He has stuck with it.
He was on their kickoff special this last weekend. He said he's got a remix to it already, ready to go.
Well, he's seeing how Aaron's playing. He knows that shit's about to get banging down there. I'm surprised Aaron didn't say he's got Lil Wayne in there. 90s, he said. 90s.
Yeah, strictly.
PJ, baby.
Can't believe he's not doing Creed.
Start his career.
He said Neil what? Who's the guy's name? Neil what?
AJ knows.
Who?
He said a guy Neil said felt like tonight's going to be a special night when he jogged out with the long hair.
Yeah,
07.
What's Nate Weir, the trainer, who officiated Nate's wedding. Yeah.
What?
Nate, he's still there. You'll see him on TV when someone gets hurt.
Hawks weddings. I didn't know that happened. How much are those?
Well, that depends. It's negotiable.
You chose not to come to my wedding, so that's something that.
He was empty the whole time.
Is it because we didn't pay him?
Oh, because he was. I did actually hear that he was pretty pissed that you didn't ask him to officiate your wedding.
Well, it's because I knew you were busy, but his seat was open the entire time. Fun for him, his wife, his 10 kids. Yeah, we had the entire row.
Whole table.
Really my RSVP. I sent it back.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, no wedding gift either.
Oh, interesting.
Even Brady Quinn got an invite.
All right, well, that's the show. Can't thank you enough. From all of us to all of you, you're the best. On Thursday, I kind of stumbled through that. My lady and I, and maybe just me, I don't know, it depends on what activity. It's going to be for the next few weeks. Cutwater is pushing this. Like, hey, you don't have to go to the bars to get incredible mixed drinks. Nope. You can be at home. My lady and I have done some things to keep ourselves occupied through the quarantine here, aside from the sex, obviously, and the wedding and everything like that.
Oh, yeah.
So we're going to do some things that we did at the house, a little bit of a trick shot, foolery, and if we'll post it, and if you match it, and use the proper hashtags, I'll tag it all. You'll fall into a pool where we're going to give away, I think, 5 $1,000 Visa gift cards.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty cool. Pretty pumped up.
I love Visa gift cards.
Pretty pumped up.
Like you're doing it's like a Dude Perfect thing, like a Dude Perfect show that you're doing yourself now.
Yeah, I mean, kind of.
They don't give away free gift cards.
I think they do, actually. I don't know.
Why are you gonna say it like that?
Yeah,
AJ, why do you get it?
Why
It's
the
a
way
completely
you said
different
it.
thing.
You
It's
probably
very-
won't be talking about the Lord as much as
Trick
they do.
shots.
But
They talk about the Lord?
oh, these guys love the Lord.
And
Oh,
pandas.
that's who
Okay.
gets the shots in the basket.
I didn't know that. I did not know that they were super
neither.
religious.
I don't really
operation.
follow him.
Oh yeah.
I didn't know that. I know that they
When
make.
you say trick shots, who do people think of?
Pete Weber.
Globetrotters.
Globetrotters
Pete Weber.
definitely do it. Pete Weber, and also the two-handed runner from down under.
Mike Massey, the pool guy.
Red Panda.
Yeah, Texas Dolly. You should have seen what he did with cards.
Who do you think you are?
David Blaine.
David Blaine, a lot of trick shots. He tricked everybody into thinking he was in danger this last one.
Incredible though. It's a good trick.
He's like a Navy SEAL certified. He's like a
Low altitude jumper.
hey, Did he lose his fastball? Maybe, but that curveball still hits, pal.
Oh, yeah.
So,
12-6.
so from us to all of you, thank you so much. We'll see you in Manana. Great guest coming tomorrow. Are you kidding me?
Oh, you have no clue.
Everybody thinks Aaron Rodgers, big guest. I agree, it is, and those conversations are awesome. But wait till you see what we got in Manana. We had 30,000 people watching at one point today. We can't thank you enough. Now we're at like 19.3. That's still a Staples Center, and we'll keep that thing going. And wait till we come on tour. We want to meet you in person. That's going to happen after this whole quarantine thing. We're setting it up currently. I mean, not really, because you can't get anywhere because we don't know when things are going to be able to open. But the brainstorming is currently starting. Can't wait to come meet all of you in person. Let's make that happen. From myself, AJ Hawk, all the boys, have a great Tuesday. Maybe the best Tuesday of all time. And if you missed any of the show today, we have a full podcast recapping everything. Pat McAfee Show 2.0. Subscribe, rate, review. We appreciate the hell out of you. And thanks to Bruce Feldman for that article on The Athletic. It was very, very nice. Too nice. Almost embarrassingly nice. And to all my former teammates, coaches, and equipment managers that spoke, you're the best. AJ, have a fucking great Tuesday, pal.
Will do. You too. Thanks, guys.
All right, cheers. Put an undershirt on. All right. That's the show.
There you go.
That's the show.
Oh, no.